God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. You're overdue. I just felt it's something that makes you look good, and that's cool, and you know, I'm all for it, but I think you need to tone this down because now it's getting intrusive to the show. But they can go in the afternoon for a U.S.
Hold
show,
on a second.
as they did there,
Dave?
and they can do 180,000 buys for an afternoon show, which they've also done for All In. So
okay,
we know they can do. We know they can do big.
Can I continue this before you cut me off? We know one thing.
Yes.
We know it might have done well because it went on first.
I'm not saying it would.
Here's my thing, Dave.
But here's okay. Wait. Okay, here's the thing. Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. I mean, it didn't mean anything to me. It was just a match.
That's the problem, Dave. It should mean something to you.
Give him a quick squash win just to show that, like, you know, he's not a loser.
What's happening, guys? Welcome to the return of Dave Meltzer, Dumb Moment of the Week, hashtag DMDMW, ladies and gentlemen. I am your boy, Phil S. Marks.
You fucking Mark!
And today the S is for stupidity, which I hope you all give a like to the video, 5-star rating, leave a comment, send in a super chat, become a member of the YouTube channel for 99 cents. Check out patreon.com/ProWrestleTimes for bonus episodes of DMDMW and other exclusive content. Ladies and gentlemen, this week, Dave Meltzer basically had an entire 4-day long meltdown. I can't even find the beginning of it. It's just been a 4-day long unhinged meltdown over Hulk Hogan and comparing him to Ricky Dozan and all of these things. So we're going to go over that. DDayCobra, Jeremy Prime, gets blocked by Dave Meltzer because he jumps into things and responds to PWT in this whole debacle. And Bryan Alvarez versus AEW. He gets extraordinarily mad at Dave Meltzer, and we are going to look at a clip from their fight. And all of that and more, ladies and gentlemen. It is the return of Dave Meltzer, Dumb Moment of the Week. So without further ado, flutes in the chat, ladies and gentlemen.
Or, you know, the young superstar, you know, babyface, you know, the former heel thing. So
this week, man, Dave Meltzer, he had a complete and utter 4-day meltdown over Hulk Hogan. And it all started with this tweet he put out, and he just kept responding to everybody like he's obsessively on Twitter. How the fuck is he writing all this shit and on Twitter this much and claiming he's watching all the wrestling in the world, and he's tweeting this much? I don't get it. But this guy, Steve Kim, posted, finished this up last night. I enjoyed it. It was not Hulkamaniac, but there's no denying this. He was the most important and biggest pro wrestler ever. Without him, the business does not expand the way it did. In the 80s, like the rest of us, he had his flaws. But at the same time, he impacted positively a multitude of people. And then Dave goes, there were several wrestlers more important, but I think he'd be top 6 in that category, maybe higher. And he's just bitter that Hulk Hogan got a documentary about him. He's always hated Hulk Hogan. He just wants to sit there and go, actually, I'm going to fact check every single minute of this doc. I guarantee Dave didn't even watch it. Okay? He doesn't watch Unreal, but he gets triggered by the commercials for it. And he gets mad. Oh, it's absolutely a work, Bryan. Meanwhile, he doesn't even end up watching the show. I guarantee he didn't even watch this because he wasn't asked to be in it. He's just a bitter old asshole. And so Dave just has to go, there's a bunch of more people who are important, but he'll be top 6. And I mean, that's a bold claim to make. And I've made this argument. If you go to Mars, people know Hulk Hogan. If you go to the rainforest, people know Hulk Hogan. Okay? Now that may be a little exaggerative, but everybody remembers Hulk Hogan. If you go to Japan, I bet you all the people there know Hulk Hogan. All the ones who know who Ricky Dozan are for sure know Hulk Hogan. there. If you go anywhere else in the world, the people who don't know Ricky Dozan probably know Hulk Hogan. Does that make sense? So Dave Meltzer, I don't know, he has to bury Hulk. And okay, he's a top 6. That's your opinion. That's fine. But then he goes this is April 26th, dude. This is just his timeline. We can't even, we're not going to read all of this, obviously. But I'm going to scroll through this. You guys are not even going to believe how long. And this isn't even the beginning, dude. I'm sure it went before. I just got tired of scrolling and he's just going. Yeah, so this is bad. Okay, I can't imagine. Maybe this is the start. I think it's the start. So let's just kind of scroll through this. This guy goes, okay, Dave, who is more important? Seriously, please. And then Meltzer goes, Frank Gotch and Ricky Dozan are far more important. Literally created the sport and dominated it. Okay, man. Gotch for both pro and amateur and being one of the biggest sports stars of his era. You could argue Ricky. Okay, so amateur doesn't count. And again, if you want to talk about inventing the sport, then we have to go back to the fucking Greek gods. We have to go back to, fucking the origins of the Olympics where they wrestled then, Dave. And you're talking about Frank Gotch. I could just dismiss Hulk Hogan, or pardon me, I could just dismiss Frank Gotch the same way you're dismissing Hulk Hogan. If we're to play that game. Well, who invented it? Well, it comes from actual wrestling. So what are we talking about? You could argue Ricky Dozan ahead, but they are top 2. And again, top 2 what? Draws? We're going to need bank statements and stuff. Are we just talking about name value, superstardom in pro wrestling? I think it's Hulkster. And maybe, again, it's recency bias, but I don't know. Even when it comes to John Cena, John Cena's huge. I'm sure there's metrics you could go, well, Cena's bigger box office at the movie theaters than Hulk Hogan, but I just think Hulk Hogan's the guy, He is the dude. There's no John Cena really without Hulk Hogan. But Hogan, Inoki, and Londos, and you could debate any of those placings. Steve Johnson, who has researched Londos more than anyone, told me he was definitely bigger than anyone since. I did Inoki and Hogan bios in recent years upon their passing, and when done, it was clear Inoki was the more influential. Next tier is Bruno, Baba, demon level tier. Oh, my God. Dave, the problem is that you did a write-up recently and nobody trusts the shit that you write up. And so this guy goes, Austin was probably closest to Hogan as far as impact, but his run was very short. Austin is not top 9. Is not top 9. This is what I mean. He's just kind of cooked. We all know Ricky Dozan. If you're a sicko or a wacko, you've heard of Frank Gotch. You know what Ricky Dozan is. You've heard of Jim Londos, right? But there has to be listen, I'm not trying to knock it. Those guys probably drew more in the history books, though. If you walked into, for the next 100 years, if you went somewhere and said Hulk Hogan, people will know. People don't remember, Hackenschmidt and all this shit. I'm sorry. So maybe Santo, if you go to Mexico, yeah, Santo's still, you walk into fucking sports bars and they got shit with Santo in it. But And Inoki, sure, maybe didn't he he went to Korea and stuff. He was breaking the walls down of politically and stuff. I just think globally and gimmick wise, superstar wise, it's Hulk Hogan. So again, we have to really, what is Dave even considering? Because Hogan didn't get the most top rated matches according to Dave. He didn't get the most 5-star matches. So is that really the best? Because we're supposed to believe your star ratings are what indicate is the best wrestler. So are we just talking about draws? Because that's, again, I'm sure we could just track this and do math on it and figure it out. And Hogan just kind of took it to another level. There was always freak show fights. There was always people who crossed over and tried to bring celebrity to combat. It's happened a handful of times. or like crossover fights, you know, before MMA. There was like Judo Gene LaBelle had like crossover fights and shit. So people were doing that. But Hogan like took it to that other level where like TVs were in every household and shit. That's the difference, Dave. Just like streaming's different now, and Dave's talking about key demos, and now he doesn't talk about that because they don't really favor for him unless he wants to point out that it's beating TNA or whatever, or AEW. But either way, he says Austin's not top 9. I just think that's crazy. And then he goes, amazing what you could learn by actually studying history. The brain dead take is someone who clearly knows no history trying to tell me about history. Dave, you can't say the brain dead take is someone who clearly knows no history while trying to tell me about history. And then you misspell no or knows no history, whatever, typed it twice because you're just eagerly, with your tongue wagging, typing away. You can't do that. Wrestling has taken place all over the world. It did not start in 1984. Yeah, but Dave, again, if you studied history, you have to factor in each era. Television and now the internet. And then an era before where people went to live things and you walked around town and did shit all day because there's no fucking TVs in the houses, right? And so you'd throw a parade and fucking name a wrestler, right? Would come parading through town to promote themselves with a megaphone. Hear ye, hear ye. It's like you have to break it down in different eras as well. And so globally, like Hulk Hogan is from an era where he blew up when there was TVs in every household and people from around the world could watch him, and his merch gets sent to other countries and all this stuff. Like, because if that's what we're talking about, I don't get what Dave's talking about. Like, who's the best wrestler? Well, then it's Will Ospreay, you know. As far as like, if we're looking at Dave's ratings and shit, if we're talking like 5-star matches and shit, then we got to go with fucking Will Ospreay, I guess, or Kenny Omega, or one of these guys, the Young Bucks, according to Dave. So what is he talking about? Like, not top 9? Well, top 9 what? Because Austin, like, I don't know. It's not just the gimmick either, and the name recognition. Like, the matches he had account for something too, and it all works together. So how do we just chalk this shit? This is crazy. I don't even know. He doesn't like qualify anything he says. And the problem too is he's like, brain dead. You have a blue check, buddy. Like, edit this. That's why we know you're seething when you're typing like that. So let's just scroll ahead. Your reading comprehension is bad. See, he just condescends you. Claim to be a wrestling analyst, and that is a dog shit take. Okay, well, this guy's coming at him hot, but he goes, are you really that stupid or just so biased that you throw what little credibility you have away? So this triggers him when you say this shit here. And then he goes, your reading comprehension is bad. If I say 3 to 6, it means 2, definitely 3 others. You could argue, not 5 or better, but yes, 5 in the discussion for sure. Saying Hulk Hogan doesn't deserve a biopic because there were more important wrestlers after him is like saying Michael Jackson doesn't deserve a biopic because Taylor Swift has sold more albums. Exactly. Or Drake has had more number ones for longer. So Drake's better than MJ. They're going to make a Drake movie one day, and there's going to be people pulling up, dancing in the dancing outside the theater. That's what's going to happen. I doubt it. It's crazy. Like, Dave, this is what I mean. Like, what are you even arguing? You just want to say you don't like Hulk, buddy. So just say that, because you're not really arguing anything. That's the problem. He's not actually clarifying what it is he's debating against or for or whatever. So, but yeah, Dave says, where did I say he doesn't deserve a biopic? I was in 4 different prior biopics. Here's the problem, right? Let me read this. Like, is this guy just talking shit? Yeah, so he didn't say that. This DJ White guy shut him out, but he just added that part, and people do that shit on Twitter. So you just, yeah, Dave, okay, I guess W for Dave in that exchange. Hogan was super important. Let's just scroll through these. It's like a 4-day meltdown. Bruno Sammartino, Dusty Rhodes, Bruiser Brody, Dynamite Kid Billington, all trump Hogan in pushing wrestling forward. Oh, and Tiger Mask. Hogan was the face, never an innovator. And see that? People think innovating moves is more important than like, I'm just going to Hulk up and slam you and drop the leg. And that's what separates the the true artists from the fucking car crash derby shit, and this is Dave's doing. It really is. And like, you have to give people credit for innovating. Absolutely. Like, Tiger Mask is a legend. I don't want to diminish Dusty Rhodes or anything like that, but come on, man. Meltzer does disagree with that. He goes, I disagree on that. It's other cultures in pre-84 that people don't know about that are the keys. I'd put Hogan just below. For in-ring, sure, stylistically, many have more influence, but it wasn't an in-ring question. So now he's qualifying it, see? I'm glad I stopped here. It was an overall influence. Okay, so the overall influence question. And Dave, don't say it was an overall influence. Dave just came in, right? Because in... the tweet in question that Dave was responding to, it was not a question. The guy just said, I love the doc, and Hulk Hogan is one of the most influential, best wrestlers, and he made a bunch of people happy. And then Dave goes, not even in the top 6. Of what? Making people happy? Like, what are you even talking about, Dave? So here, he qualifies it now after all this time. It wasn't an in-ring. It was an overall influence. Okay, so at least he qualifies that. And again, I'm sure there's people who would go, dude, Bruno Sammartino had way more influence on the Italian America during that time in history. I'm sure someone could come in and say that, right? But he's just like arguing with everybody. So we're going to scroll through some of these. Frank Gotch literally built the sport of both pro and amateur wrestling in the U.S. Was the impetus for getting it in schools for stadium shows, building the framework. Yeah, so you could argue that's more influential, especially on the sports side of things, than Hulk Hogan was in pro wrestling, I guess, because Hogan didn't do amateur wrestling. Now Dave is sort of whatever. If you want to talk amateur wrestling, that's a whole other conversation, in my opinion, you know? 20s through mid-30s boom, which was very mainstream. Steve Johnson just researched the mainstream press coverage peak and said it was 26 to 35 post-Gotch. Right, but here's the thing. A kid stood out there with a newspaper and went, extra, extra, read all about it. Now you have 80 billion people around the world fucking looking on Netflix India, Netflix Australia, Netflix Canada, just the normal Netflix account. Pardon me. Yeah, Twitter account. Fucking all over the world, Netflix Japan, and you have everybody opens their phone and they see Hulk Hogan. And that's everyone in the world, all over the globe. So Dave is like, well, in other countries, the mainstream coverage of what this wrestler did in America at the time. Okay, but you go out of a fucking town, there's people who don't know who these people are. Do you know what I'm saying? There's farmers who were like, I just work on my farm all day back then, Dave. That's the thing. There weren't like TVs in every house. So again, he doesn't really influence. Like, I don't know how you gauge that, because I think influence is obviously, I mean, if you want to argue like he helped establish it in schools, yeah, that is like on an amateur wrestling level, that's like a big time influence. But is that pro wrestling though? Because pro wrestling is like gimmicks and shit. Like ultimately, right? Because where pro wrestling separated was there's a section of shooters who went, if we work matches and be entertaining and be all flamboyant and shit, we can make more money and work more times, you know? And we can we draw more people when we work heat. We can figure out storylines or characters. We can be flamboyant, and we don't have to actually fuck each other up. We can make way more money. We can do this way more. And they did. Right? So it's the gimmick is influence, right? So like I don't know if like Hulk Hogan, if there's any other, if you could argue that Hulk Hogan is not the greatest gimmick of all time, that people will remember the stash with the bandana and everything. Like it's just timeless. It'll last forever. You think of all these guys Dave's naming, and you just think of like a hairy white dude with trunks above his belly button, and he's got dark hair. You know what I'm saying? You just think of some dude like that. So yeah, he continues. Foley, in fact, said the stupidest thing anyone could say was that Ric Flair was overrated. Okay. So this is the thing too. Dave like talks to Foley. So he goes, well, Mick Foley even said, okay, well, Mick Foley, no offense, big fan. Grew up terrified of the guy, loving the guy, cheering for him, fucking crying and cheering for the guy while Randy Orton's beating his ass all the way back to Mankind scaring the shit out of me, The problem is that he just he did hardcore crazy shit. You know what I mean? He couldn't get over like Flair. Let's be honest. His promos were on point. No one really gives it a shot till you see what he was willing to sacrifice for the goddamn business. Even Vince McMahon. So we could go, Vince McMahon wouldn't bring him in. If you want to go to Mick Foley, you know what I'm saying? So again, Dave, he just has friends. Personally, they had their ups and downs. Okay, whatever the fuck. He's gonna qualify. Even Mick Foley said Flair is great. Yeah, we know. Like you could argue you could argue Flair's more influential than overall than fucking Inoki. Like globally, because again, there's a lot of people in America who don't know who the fuck Inoki is, but they know who Flair is. But if you go to Japan, I'm sure everyone who knows who Inoki is knows who the fuck Ric Flair is. Knows the woo or whatever. And that's because of like hip hop music and shit. There's no song called Jim Londo's Drip. There's no fucking Frank Gotch Drip go woo on a bitch. So Bret didn't like Flair's psychology. Okay, now they're bringing Bret Hart into it. That was Karl Gotch. Yeah, Karl Gotch Drip. What did I say? Ricky Dozan Drip go woo on a bitch. Tom Jenkins as well. Dave, more people know Leroy Jenkins than Tom Jenkins, buddy. So we're just scrolling. Here. Keep scrolling. Before Hulk Hogan's rise in popularity, wrestling was regional. The popularity of Hulk Hogan took it national. It took it global too. The only reason because he went to Japan and shit. This is the thing, man. Was everybody in Japan when Hogan went out there and Ichiban, was everyone not talking about it? Get your researchers, Dave, and get them to look up when Inoki and fucking Hulk Hogan fought and teamed up and shit. Okay? Well, that's because of Inoki. Is it? I don't know. Because that's also Hulk Hogan. And he went WWF title, garbage, the toy belt. This is the real wrestling out here in Japan, bud. That's all I'm saying, man. He did have influence out there too, whereas Inoki did have. Inoki is like I would like listen if you debated to me that he had more influence. I just don't think all time people like yes, a lot of people in America and in the West and shit know like Inoki was in the WWE. They know who he is. They respected his clout. They respected his game. A lot of mixed martial artists in the early eras respected him as well. In the early era, rather, respected him and understood who he was and shit. And yes, he fought Muhammad Ali, like, in combat sports for sure. In combat sports and Hollywood and pro wrestling, and everybody knows or talks about Hulk Hogan or has a Hulk Hogan story or has been influenced by him in some way. That's all I'm saying, man. I don't know if you could say that about Frank Gotch or Karl Gotch. Isn't there another guy, Karl Gotch, the Gotch style pile driver, right? Hogan called me many times, no matter what you may hear. Oh, so he was friends. So now you're blowing up Hogan's spot, buddy.
Sometimes in life, you got to be a hoe.
No matter what you may hear, usually when he was mad about a payoff from a pay-per-view and wanted to get the real pay-per-view grosses. So Dave thinks if you just call Dave and go, yeah, you're the man, dude. Let me tell you, old Meltzer brother, this is what the real pay-per-view numbers were, Jack. Dave Meltzer thinks that that's legit, even though it was just Hulk working him. And he's too dumb to realize it. That's so funny. I unfortunately have studied history all over the world and prior to 1984. Holy, he built a time machine? Dave Meltzer travels through time and space to study pro wrestling. He was, in my mind, the single most important wrestler after 84. So in Dave's mind, Judas in my mind, he was like a fan of wrestling. And right up until 84, that's when it just switched in Dave's head. Like we go back to the future, 1984. Dave's chilling, and he's like, Hulk Hogan? Nah, he's not the most. There's an exact day in 1984 when he's like, boom, that's it right there. He's the most influential. So you don't account for the rise at all, just like the objective, what the number. So the rise meant nothing. His influence wasn't seen, and that's why he became so big, because what year did Rocky come out and shit? We just got to fact check some shit here. So Rocky that Hulk Hogan did was 82. So that wasn't like super influential, and possibly on a national level, but I'm sure, again, we can just look shit up. Like, did the Rocky movies have a global impact? And even if it says no, it's just like, we're just checking here. Yes, the Rocky film franchise had a massive, enduring global impact. Released in 76 and beyond. Pop culture, sports, international politics, largely due to its core theme and underdog persevering against all odds, because he went to Russia and shit. And so the training montage in movies, I don't know, man. I'm sure it had like a big impact. So in 82, and I'm not saying you have to go Hulk Hogan in 82 is the most influential wrestler at the time, but like, how do you quantify influence? It's just a weird, dumb thing. So let's keep skimming through this here. We're going to try and trudge through this. Inoki was regularly topping 20 million in a country with less than half that population. Ricky Dozan peaked at 64 million. Dave, how are you defining influential for the purposes of this list? Money drawing, in-ring popularity. Hogan was routinely drawing 5 to 6 million viewers a week on TV at one point. And he did it in a time where there was like 6 million watching one show and then like 6 million watching another show, with overestimated 600,000 watching, changing channels. And so that was what we covered the other day on PWT Live. Time Cop. So I don't know what he even means. Regularly topping 20 million per week we're watching him. So if that's the case, I mean, that's incredible. Did all of those same people know who Hulk Hogan is, who Hulk Hogan was at the time, or actually later, rather, because obviously Inoki and like Ricky Dozan was before 64 million. That's absolutely incredible. Yeah. So maybe he had they were more influential at the time. For sure. But I think you'd be hard pressed if you just walked up to the average person, go outside your house, Dave, and just like walk up to someone and go, hey, show them a picture. Hulk Hogan, Ricky Dozan, go, show me who you know and tell me what their name is. How many people are going to say that they know who Ricky Dozan is for sure? Right? That's the problem. So, and does that matter? Well, they influenced fucking politics and stuff. Well, Trump was doing that the day he died. Trump was just trending on Twitter. How many? But like, the point I'm making is, I think Dave is looking at other countries and then extrapolating that as global. And he's trying to minimize Hulk Hogan by saying he was just a national thing. But I'm arguing it's quite the opposite. And Inoki may have had larger impacts in Asia or Japan as a whole. Like if you measured it compared to Hogan's impact on America, sure, but just global, everlasting, who's still drawing off the name fucking Hulk Hogan? You know, I guess all of them are RIP, but you know what I'm saying. The peak of pro wrestling on British TV was likely early 60s and late 70s. There are UK historians reading who can pinpoint this better than I can. So this is the problem, though. So he's like the peak of pro wrestling on British TV. This guy's like the Hogan era also turned that consolidated WWF brand global. Kids in the north of England became hooked on wrestling, etc. He goes, the peak of wrestling in British TV was likely early 60s and late 70s. Right. Now you're saying in the UK, like in British TV now. And we're talking about global impact. That's the problem. He keeps doing like a regional thing and then acting like trying to say that's all Hulk did, when really he had more of an influence than that. He was in like Japanese commercials on television because he was so big. He'd go over there and do these fucking ads. We play them before PWT live shows sometimes. So again, we'll scroll up. Look, like I'm gonna stop stopping. Look, this is me scrolling. Watch. And I know it's sickening and nauseating. This is him arguing Londos was bigger. You can stop anywhere. Londos was bigger in more places. Bruno was not. He's still just going, yes. Dara Singh was a famous movie star and wrestling champion, easily the most famous Indian wrestler of his era and perhaps even today. And because this guy goes, did you know about Dara Singh? He's a wrestling icon from India. Everyone knows him in my country. Dave goes, yeah, I know who this is. So Dave is sitting there going, yeah, this guy's, I mean, he's not putting him up there, but he's trying to flex like, yeah, I know all these influential wrestlers. Nobody knows who the fuck that is, though. Well, 8 billion people in India. Okay, cool. But all of those same people know who Hulk Hogan is. This guy has to get into this Hulk Hogan conversation and go, do you know about Dara Singh? Because no one knows who that is. Do you get what I'm saying? So that right there proves Hogan is more influential. Mexico, their most historical and cultural figures. Frida Kahlo, Diego Rivera. Okay, El Santo, yeah, that's great, but that's not even in America. Whoa. El Santo's mega uber famous. Not even in America, though. Or the Americas. Like, not even in Canada, though. Bunch of people don't know who the fuck that dude is. Never knew who he was. Bunch of people remember, like, Mil Mascaris over fucking El Santo. So, again, Frank Gotch was always in the 50s and 60s. We're just scrolling. Like, look, this is how long this spurg out was. And this stuff is all mostly about... it's the Twitter bullshit. 90% plus are learning about them and not flying off the handle. There are always going to be people afraid of learning on any subject. And in this case, it's also the attitude that only the U.S. is important. And the myth that the history of pro wrestling began in 1984. Dave is fucking cooked because the Western influence and celebrity is something that is yearned for globally in a way where it's not reciprocated. Like, okay, if you are like the biggest K-pop band at the time, people are going to know about you, but not everybody's going to know about every fucking K-pop band. Everybody in fucking Korea knows what Backstreet Boys are or whatever. Like, I don't know how many different ways we got to explain this. The Western influence and celebrity, there's a reason why in Japan they go, oh, Tom Cruise, we need this guy to do a fucking gum commercial. Come to Tokyo, and they pay him a bunch of money, and these celebrities go and do that. There's a reason why there's not like a famous Japanese actor, and they go, hey, can you come do this commercial for Toyota? They get John Cena to do it. But John Cena also goes and does Chinese fucking ads for Dr. Scholl's or whatever the fuck. You get what I'm saying? So again, Dave is like, there's this thing where America is important. It's not even that. Like, I'm Canadian. I'm not here sweeping for US and whatever the fuck. But it's like, yeah, America is not the most important thing, whatever the fuck. You can argue that all you want. But you're just on some like anime guy shit. You're like on some anime Redditor shit, you know? Like, yes, has there been like you could, in animation, that's a good example. Like, anime influenced a bunch of animation styles, sure. But again, we just Googled Rocky, and it was talking about how the film style had a global impact on just movies in general and Hollywood. And everybody in China The biggest Hollywood movies, a lot of the time with all the superheroes and shit, they all consume that too. Whatever the biggest movie is in China, people aren't like watching. We're not all going, holy fuck, did you see this movie? It's like hardcore film snobs. So you're like a hardcore wrestler snob and you're just trapped in a bubble. You can't like be objective about it. It's very unobserverish of you to be this way, you know? Here's me sweeping for the old US of A. Here, let's let me check in with chat. There's just so much to get through of all of this. More people globally can pick out Hogan over Thez. That's what I'm saying. Like if you put up who's that Pokemon and it's just like the mustache and a bandana and they're yellow. Everybody knows who that is. Okay? So it's fucked up. Lebowski for 2 says free 626 AK PWT's Leon Trotsky from the Kick Gulag. And then even Vince would have let 626 come back. All right. So we move along here. He goes, what did I say about Hogan? Number 3 to number 6 of all time in importance historically. Among what? 15,000 to 50,000. That's a compliment of the highest order. Yeah, Dave, I don't know why he feels he could have just left the opinion out there and been like, here's what I think. Here's my justification. And then he's just responding to every single person for like 4 days. Hogan didn't create a business. Yeah, but you could argue he saved it. You could argue he saved 2. And okay, like is WWE not the most influential wrestling company in the world? Of all time. It's like that's the argument, Dave. Well, no, you could argue they took from all these other places. Okay, but there's a reason why everyone who wrestles in New Japan now would go to WWE. Okada, Tanahashi, they all love and respect WWE and WrestleMania and all this shit. It's out there. And then all the wrestlers are trying to get jobs in WWE. Because there's more money, because it's more fucking influential globally, all time historically. Like, yes, all Japan in the 80s was like, oh, or whatever the fuck. Absolutely. But they all knew who Hulk Hogan was at the same time. Every one of those people knew who the fuck Hulk Hogan was too. They might not watch his shit. They might not agree with his shit. They might not like his wrestling. They don't have access to it to watch it every week, but they know who the fuck that guy is come like late 80s and shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know exactly when did All Japan fall off or what was the Nuge peak? What year was that? Because everybody who remembers that shit also knows who Hulk Hogan is, who's alive to this day. I don't know how many other ways. We got to word it in Japanese. I think Dave will understand it. Untrue. Ricky Dozan was somewhat big in Hawaii. Okay. And was somewhat big in Hawaii. Okay. And pushed very hard in San Francisco, I'm assuming, from day one. But that was political. Headlined LA, but that was because he was Ricky Dozan, not because he was super over in the city. Bobo was probably the biggest star as far as U.S. success went. So save me from being... So listen to what Dave says here. This guy goes, for one thing, he saved your hapless ass from unemployment, talking about Hulk Hogan. Without Hogan, wrestling never would have reached the heights it did and thus paved the way for the future. Dave goes, save me from being an NFL, NBA, or baseball writer. Oh, my God. So you could write about Patrick Mahomes, Dave? Oh, my God.
He had Cuervo with him the whole time, too.
Dave, they would laugh you out of that business so fucking hard. You'd have to go like the Skip Bayless route to be taken somewhat serious, and those guys aren't taken serious at all. I'd have been fine in any of those roles. Maybe not made quite as much money. Dave, you would be like a local fucking news weather reporter, and you'd get fucking fired immediately. You wouldn't have made, they would have been like, oh, he's the sports guy, he fucking sucks, move him on to, can he do weather? Can he write what's going to be on the teleprompter? Just run on sentences. Maybe not made quite as much money. Probably would have had more fame though. Dave, you would have fucking floundered. You have to be able to cut a promo like Stephen A. Smith. Would have had more fame. No, dude. This is the thing. You got the most famous and made the most money ever by being involved in wrestling. If you did anything else, you wouldn't have made as much money and you wouldn't be nearly as fucking famous or prolific. And then Dave goes, closing your mind twice. Many boxing experts think Ali was the best. Many don't. The name I always heard the most about being the best was Ray Robinson. But if you said he was third, most sane people wouldn't have a freak out. See, again, Dave, most boxing people don't sit there and go, well, Ray Robinson would have beat Ali. Like, maybe if you're talking like pound for pound, okay? But when people say Ali's the greatest of all time, they're saying he was the greatest heavyweight of all time, and thus whoever's the best heavyweight is the best of all time, and the pound for pound, essentially king, you kind of just give it to, the heavyweight champ, like that's the dude, you know? It's sort of how, like when Mike Tyson's the heavyweight champ, he was the baddest man on the planet. Were there other better technical boxers and shit? Absolutely. But Mike Tyson was the GOAT. He was the best heavyweight of all time. A lot of people said then. But yes, people say Ali's the greatest of all time because he was the best heavyweight of all time. When people say Ray Robinson, you're talking about Ray Robinson fought multiple weight classes. I believe he fought in a handful of them. So he's like, the best technical fucking guy. Some people would say Roy Jones in his prime was the most athletically technical and shit. So again, he's just kind of conflating two things, and he gets all jumbled in his mind. You just see it here. We're still scrolling. Look, I'm skipping a bunch. So now we're talking about grandparents. And this guy goes, my grandparents in Greece knew Hulk Hogan and they had never watched pro wrestling in their lives. Now I see why Bruce and Eric consider you a joke with zero credibility. Did Hogan refuse to give you an autograph during the 80s or something? And Dave goes, already told the story of my grandmother, never watched either, but through cultural osmosis knew several of the biggest mainstream names from when she grew up and when she was an adult. Okay, so you're lying. You're lying. Dave's one of these guys who would be like, I swear on my mother's grave, Bryan, he's one of these. Dude, I don't believe that for one fucking second. Okay? That he knew, that she knew through osmosis and stuff. But here's the thing. We're talking about influence in pro wrestling, right? Because again, maybe just influence over whatever. Hulk Hogan influenced people for wrestling. Like, he was known as a wrestler. It wasn't his movies that transcended. Like when you go, The Rock's the biggest star, and John Cena. Yeah, they also have like Hollywood box office, and Hogan was known for that, but he was known as like a joke, and the wrestling is what made him like this global phenomena, other than Rocky. Like Rocky's impact cannot go fucking undermined here, but he goes, my grandmother, through cultural osmosis, knew several of the biggest mainstream names from when she grew up and when she was an adult, but she never watched wrestling, but she knew these names because of other things they influenced, which are mostly politics and shit. So Dave's grandmother was studying El Santo movies and shit. It's like, Dave, don't come in with bullshit now. So just different cultures in the way Japan looks at him after the war, needing a hero the country could regain their glory. Remember, they had viewed at their leader and generals during the war as mythical lords. And Dave goes, and that's why he's so much bigger culturally. Okay, but this was deleted. I don't fucking know whoever Dave's talking about, but okay, what about the military in fucking the USA and all of their support the troop stuff and all of the they looked at them as mythical lords. Okay, that's what celebrity worship culture is like in the West, and Hulk Hogan was a big ass celebrity, so I just don't like, oh, mythical lord. Okay, so they like worship them like false idols, like celebrities. Essentially, like that's the same. What do you guys? You're just like marking out because you guys like Japan and have waifus, AI waifus, dude. So we move along. There's so much. Look, I'm just scrolling. We're still scrolling. This is the Spurgo, guys, for days, dude. So let's go here. Bruno was very strong. See, you can stop anywhere, and he's got some shit talking about this. So Bruno Londos has consistent drawing power over a very long period of time. And then Dave goes, Bruno was very strong in the sense he could work 2 to 3 matches with the same opponent and work monthly, and usually drew well if the TV was strong. But sometimes with weak TV, he didn't draw. Hogan wasn't as good as Bruno with return matches, nor did he work monthly, as they found out in '84. If he worked too often in the same market, his numbers went down. SF area notable. They booked him monthly, trying and succeeding in winning the markets from AWA. Was doing 10,000 early, fell to 2,500 with the match with Ventura. Or pardon me, yeah, by George Steele, but Ventura not being there was never announced, so they used him less frequently, and he drew much better. Okay, all right, all right, Dave. Andre had a contract with New Japan dating prior to WWE and later All Japan. With Andre, there was some thing for Andre there, so he still go like Mascaris and Superstar Billy Graham. And here we go. We have, so this is like today, 5 hours ago. See, he's still going. An entire industry is built off Ricky Dozan. Hogan came to prominence 100 plus years after the U.S. industry started. Hogan was also not the personal mentor of either Austin or Rock or Cena. Well, Ricky was of Baba, Inoki, and Kim, 2 of the highest proteges. I mean, Dave's spitting there. Like, if he just said this from the start, this explains it very clearly and concisely, arguing influence in pro wrestling, and then look at the significance, the impact Inoki and them had. Well, if you just studied and learned, Bryan. Okay, but like you being a condescending, it doesn't warrant you being such a dickhead to everybody. 2 of his proteges themselves were the top 10 to 15 most influential in history. But again, I mean, yeah, same argument still applies though. All of the people they influenced knew what the fuck Hulk Hogan was. Not everybody that Hogan influenced in the rest of the world. We're talking like, what, does Canada not matter? And in fucking America and shit like this? It just had a bigger cultural impact. We talked about it already. We beat this to death. So one of his that would be quite okay. So it's time to retire, Dave. And then Dave goes, that would be quite unfortunate for those who want to learn something besides fake history. So only Dave provides the real history, dude. Nobody else has the real history but Dave.
Best guy is Tony Khan.
And he's so good at telling the future too, because he's the guy who picked Tony Khan, anointed him, right? So that's super funny. We head over here now because somebody had a response for Dave Meltzer with all of this. And it was somebody who's quite prominent in the YouTubing space, to say the least. I'm going to pull it up over here. And so we have some clips of Dave actually talking about this documentary. Yeah, okay. I got the clips pulled up here. So we head over here. And so Dave Meltzer, are you guys ready for this shit right here? Like, Dave Meltzer this is some clips of him talking about the documentary before it came out, once it came out, after it came out. I don't think he even watched the documentary. Not that the argument he started. And it's funny because he made the conversation not about how good the documentary was, not about what's real and what isn't in there. Which, I mean, like, does it fucking matter? True Hollywood Story, everything's real about Charlie Sheen or whatever. Like, no, that shit isn't always factual either, entirely, obviously. But he doesn't talk about the documentary, like, based on the documentary, or the merit, or Hulk Hogan based on, like, the context of the documentary. He just made the conversation about something else, and then everybody starts spurging out about Dave talking about Ricky Dozan and shit. It's like, whatever, man. It's so stupid. He always does this. He just gets so salty, and then he can't help it.
The young superstar, babyface, the former heel thing. So
this was before the Hogan doc even dropped, and he just already was like, there's so much revisionist history when it comes to WCW, Bryan. So let's take a listen to this clip. Let's watch this clip. And he was already just like, oh, they're just going to put him over for They didn't even really touch on the WCW. They didn't do the old fucking, we returned to WWE, brother, and I dragged The Rock on with a motorcycle or whatever. Like, whatever he did, I exploded him in a semi and flipped over the ambulance, and I did everything I could to make the people hate me, and they still cheered me, dude. Like the same old song and dance. They skipped over a lot of that shit. You have to give them credit. And if you watch it, you know what I'm saying. So here's Dave's take on how they're going to lie about WCW essentially again.
We had clips from the Hogan documentary. Well, Nash says they had no idea who the third man was until he came to the curtain.
I know. The takes and the clips.
Yeah, actually, I paused when he said that. We had no idea till he came out. And it's like, yeah, I don't know about all that. Like, I just don't think they would have left it up to chance like that. But maybe, who knows? Maybe they thought Sting was coming out.
Names and things like this, when it comes to WCW, there is so much bullshit out there, between the stories of, that, like, the stories out there now.
My other problem, too, I just can't even get through this because it's like, my other problem is that Dave was there saying, yes, this guy's way more influential because people looked at him like they looked at in Japan, they looked at people like mythical lords and legends, and they were otherworldly mythical lords and shit. It's like, buddy, it's all part of Hulk Hogan's legend. Mythical means mythical, bro. Like, that means fucking not real, right? How do we define mythical? We can just Google the definition of it. Okay, something based on, involving, or existing only in myths, legends, or imagination rather than reality. And I'm not saying it's all got to be fake, but it's part of his legend. Dave was just agreeing with some mark going like, oh, well, they looked at them as mythical warlords. Okay, so it's the same thing applies. So goofy.
Like, even if they were like,
it's triggered by the fucking WCW quote unquote bullshit, but oh yeah, this guy, the bullshit elevates people's fucking mythical legend in Dave's mind in other countries. So stupid.
Doing giant business and giant ratings. AOL was going to force it off television. And it's like, that is preposterous. Are you going to force the sale? They didn't want it because it was too lowbrow. It's like, they didn't want it because it lost $62 million. And back in those days, today, companies will keep companies that lose all kinds of money for vanity reasons or whatever, you know what I mean? Or just you want it in your portfolio. Back then, a public company, and you got a division losing $62 million that you don't need, you're going to cut the division. I mean, it's not like today where, like Peacock is draining you, billions of dollars every year. And when I say billions, I do mean with a B every year. It's like, it was, in the 3 billion range. It's like, and you're going to keep it because in the long run, you think it's going to work. I mean, look, there were probably, Ted Turner himself. Oh, he had been around wrestling long enough and seen the ups and the downs and the ups and the downs. And he never wanted to get rid of it because he knew that, like, okay, there's some periods with pro wrestling where you just go down, but eventually you're going to come back up, which isn't, of course, true because a bad promotion, most of the time, a really bad promotion doesn't come back.
Well, you just said it. You said it. Whatever happens to AEW, Dave, you just said it. We're studying and learning.
But, his wrestling that he'd had from 1972 to 2000,
Meltzer Inferno.
there were points that it was down, and it did come back many times. So that's the way he would have viewed it. But yeah. I mean, it's just like the idea, the big idea is that nobody knew it was going to be. It was this secret. Nobody knew. And it's like, fuck, I had it in the Observer the week before. We had it on the hotline every day that week. It was Hulk Hogan. And now people.
He's like just proud of ruining pro wrestling. Listen, fuck, man, we had it. But you also said it would be Sting. You also said it would be Lex Luger. You also said it would be Yokozuna or whatever the fuck. Didn't he? He had like 4 different people he thought it was going to be, Dave. Shut the fuck
trying
up.
to, claim that nobody knew.
Nobody knew, my God. Dude, you also claim that fucking the best guy's Tony Khan and that
The best guy's Tony Khan.
making money hand over fist and all of this shit, and you can't back any. They got Dynamite's got fucking 500,000 viewers on Max and shit. Shut the fuck
We
up.
had clips from the
Like,
Hogan
it's
documentary.
so egregious. It's just part of his legend. We're talking about the documentaries about the legend of Hulk Hogan. So Dave continues here. And I think we have another clip from the Hulk Hogan stuff. No, we don't. So what happens is there's a gentleman who's really well known. Let me just see. Let me just make sure. Oh, yeah. Like Dave just doesn't fucking, he doesn't even cover RAF in the Observer, really. Like before 14,000 fans, Chad Bronstein, who runs RAF, said that even though they use UFC fighters, TKO doesn't have a financial stake in RAF. However, Real American Beer. So he writes about it. This is the only excerpt in the whole fucking Observer. And Switchblade says little RAF coverage in the Observer this week. No coverage of RAF 08 or Hosmot signing. Pretty funny how the more successful RAF has become, the less Dave covers it, considering Dave said it would fail. And he hates the idea of putting over Bischoff. He also challenged Bischoff. You have the chance now. Do well with it. And it's been the talk of MMA. Dave wants to bring up boxing and MMA. RAF is the shit. Sarukian's over there taking matches all the time. Everybody talks about RAF whenever the events go down. If you're in the fucking MMA bubble, dude, people really enjoy RAF. And it's taken off and it's been successful. So he just covers it less and less, of course, because he's bitter towards Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff. He knows how close fucking Hogan and Bischoff were as well. And so Dave actually gets felted over this Hulk Hogan stuff by 2 people in particular of significance, I guess, on this episode. One person over at Geeks and Gamers, Mr. Jeremy Prime, DDayCobra, got into it with Dave. And so, yeah, Dave says there were several wrestlers more important than Hulk Hogan, but I think he'd top 6 in that category, maybe higher. And then Jeremy Prime, DDayCobra, goes, Hulk Hogan is the most important wrestler ever. There's no debate here. You're just retarded. He got fucking pwned there, man. And he got ratioed to Obliviacree.
This just in, we have confirmed that Dave Meltzer fears PWT and flutes.
And then he just responded to my tweet about it with a fucking... with the Vince McMahon laughing. Oh, haha, pal. Just full fucking heel turn on Dave Meltzer. And that's pretty funny because it ratioed Dave to Obliviacree as well. And even people who typically wouldn't go at Dave had to go at him for this shit. It's like everyone knows Hulk Hogan. Every Star Wars fan knows Hulk Hogan. They don't know Ricky Dozan, Like, I don't know how else to chalk this up. But he got mad. Dave just blocked Jeremy Prime, DDayCobra. Right? He just fucking blocked him. So, yeah, pretty funny. Shout out Geeks and Gamers. And I think someone else, Epic Mike. Yeah, the Epic Mike jumped on him. Name one guy bigger than and more iconic in wrestling than Hulk Hogan. I'll wait. And then this ratioed him too, dude. He just got smashed to Obliviacree. Yeah, it's funny to see when that happens.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
And this shows you the impact of Hulk Hogan, Dave. Here's people outside of the wrestling bubble. Nobody from outside the wrestling bubble is jumping in to go, no, Inoki and Ricky Dozan. Right? And Dave can't cope over this because they have the new, I don't know how new it is, but all of these Japanese Twitter accounts, and I think it's for like every language, or not all languages are rolled out, but they're like rolling it out on X. I'm not sure, but it's a thing people are talking about on Twitter, right? Where all of these Japanese accounts, you can translate their shit. You can click show translation, and it's a language that's on there where, like, if you're scrolling Twitter, it will just show you a Japanese guy's tweet in your feed already translated or whatever. And I don't know how they're rolling this out or if it's already a thing. I'm just noticing it for certain languages on Espanol, Japanese, etc. Personally, I don't know other people's experiences though, and I don't keep up with what Elon Musk is doing, but there's no, like, maybe there is. I didn't scroll through. Again, we went through like a day long, but it's just Dave responding. He's not responding to any of these people, but there's nobody like, this guy goes, every wrestling historian says stupid stuff like, yeah, Hogan was good, but he owes everything to old Cornelius Johnson. This ratioed him 1.3K. Like, do you know what I'm saying? There's no like Japanese dude jumping in here and ratioing everyone and going, Ricky Dozan actually was more culturally significant. Now, could you argue that's a Twitter bubble? Like at the Twitter IWC bubble? Maybe, but like DDayCobra is not necessarily involved in that. He's involved in a bunch of other shit. Now you're crossing over to like Geeks and Gamers territory, and now this is the crossover. This is the influence right here. There's no like show translation tweet from some dude in Mexico going like, nah, man, El Santo's way more influential, ratioing, and then everybody's like, yeah. And I get it. Like, there's more American Twitter users probably. Is that true, though? I don't know. I'd have to look up how many fucking Twitter users are in Japan, but you guys get the point I'm making. Like, that shows you the crossover and influence right there. Other people are like, nah, fuck that. We all know who Hulk Hogan is. He was the shit, even if you don't like wrestling now. You can't name another wrestler more influential, like on a global level. And then varying degrees. Okay, in Japan, politically, Inoki was way more influential on a Richter scale, on a 5-star scale, than Hulk Hogan was politically in America. Like, okay, maybe you could fucking make that argument, but then you're narrowing it down. Then you're categorizing it. You're putting it in a box. Then that's not just influence as a whole. Which, again, Dave clarified that's what the argument was about. So he gets just smashed to oblivion by them. And then Nick LoPiccolo, everyone's favorite Hollywood agent. Nick LoPiccolo dropped this thing, right, where he just broke down. It's like an essay. I don't know if he wrote this. I don't know if he spoke this into his phone, or it's a fucking whole essay. I encourage people to go and read it. And Dave Meltzer, Hulk Hogan, and the difference between domestic myth and global scale. The Ricky Dozan argument collapses once you separate domestic from global. So basically what I've been saying this entire time. Let's look at some of these other points. Japan is great. That is not the same as global scale. Right. In fairness, too, Dave was like, well, America's great, but, well, he didn't say that, but he's like, it's not the same as the rest of the world. He tried to say the same thing, but pretend like Hogan doesn't also translate to other countries and stuff. So, and again, he just talks about here, like, Japan's awesome. It's more geared towards animation, video games, literature, food, martial arts, wrestling, things like that, right? And again, nerds and shit, like, yeah, I'm into martial arts and stuff, but you have to understand, like, even you look at MMA, is UFC more influential than Pride? Pride had the Bushido and all that stuff. UFC's just like dudes cutting pro wrestling Hulk Hogan style promos and talking shit, and Josh Hokett or whatever. You're Sean Strickland. You're fucking talking shit, calling everyone gay and fucking beating dudes up. And I'm not a martial artist. I'm just a fighter, bro. Dude, man. It's a lot of those guys. Who the fuck is that guy? It's a lot of those guys, right? Just talking shit. So I don't know, man. What's more influential? in that regard, right? Like we all love Japan. We all look at the fucking Legend of Japan, like it was the Bushido and all that shit. And culturally in Japan, sure, Pride was more, but I mean UFC. The globally, everybody knows what UFC is. It's the same thing applies. He's just in his own bubble. So this just goes over everything. Nick LoPiccolo broke it down. Rating shares, not global stardom. Scarcity creates concentration. So this is a literal like fucking essay. People will be reading this in at Harvard Business School. between talking to OnlyFans models, they'll be fucking teaching this at pro wrestling school that Dave Meltzer went to, where he studied and learned. Brian, you have to study and learn, Dave, or else you'll never know that.
Learn, baby, learn. Meltzer Inferno.
So, yeah, and shout out Nick LoPiccolo here, founder, Rare Standard, co-founder, Forge. And yeah, I implore everyone to go and read through all of that if you want to see his perspective on everything. We move along here to something different. So Brian actually gets into an argument with Dave over AEW. Now, we have some, let me see here, because there's just some funny things that are like, there's some funny TNA stuff. Conrad versus Dave Meltzer part 2. I might save that for like another video because they were going back and forth like in the whole next day or like later that day or whatever the fuck. Maybe they both got home and decided they were going to duke it out. But we have Dave Meltzer just royally glazing AEW. And he actually gets in a fight with Bryan over it. It's so cute. And I just want to find it here because we also have like some one of the TNA wrestlers went at Dave Meltzer after a week break, or actually it's a few weeks. I don't think I've done Dave Meltzer dumb moment in like a few weeks, guys. We have throwback Dave, kind of pertains to what we're talking about as well with the whole Japan versus like America stuff. America, fuck yeah, coming again to save the motherfucking day. Yeah, America, fuck yeah. So we are going to run through Dave's influence here. And, well, let's just get into some Dave Meltzer glaze. How about it? Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. Flutes in the chat for the best guy is Tony Khan. The best guy is definitely Tony Khan. And I'm on Team Tone again, okay? We're not hating on Tone. We're encouraging Tone. He's got dumb fucks like this going to bat for him. I genuinely feel bad. Nick LoPiccolo, speaking of which, he was saying that he triple-checked, quadruple-checked to confirm that Paramount already passed on AEW in like what did he say, in August or something? Maybe that's the wrong month. Sorry, I should have bookmarked it. I think I have it in AEW news. We'll talk about it this weekend. But Nick LoPiccolo was saying like a few months ago or something out of nowhere. No, it wouldn't have been last August. Yeah, so I can't remember when Paramount started the whole acquisition thing. Whatever. He says he triple and quadruple checked. Right? And this could all be allegedly, but he's putting his name on it. He's going to look awfully stupid if it doesn't fucking turn out to be correct. Eric. But apparently Paramount like already passed, and Tone has been saying his game plan is YouTube and my AEW. So again,
just in from Phil Marks of PWT. He says, I told you so.
So that's exactly what I've been saying. And again, it doesn't take fucking some genius to figure that out, that's sort of what they're building up to and they're shaping up for. And how easy it'll be to roll my AEW out, and then Tone trying to like revamp ROH for a couple weeks and then just forgetting about it again. That was reactionary to TNA. Everything he does is reactionary because he's just able to buy his way out of shit ultimately. So Here's Dave Meltzer just glazing AEW, and he's working overtime, and a lot of these sheets are working overtime, and Tone's being nicer to these people, so they cover him more favorably. Why? Because he sees the writing on the wall. The writing on the wall. And we're going back to Dynasty here. Yes, it's been that long since we've done a DMDMW, but it's important because Dave just does unhinged glazing and star ratings and stuff. It's super cute.
It's an AEW pay-per-view. All the matches are going to be good. Many of the matches are going to be great. I don't take it for granted, like that there's, I mean, by the standard of pay-per-views, it was a great show. By the standard of AEW pay-per-views, it was a good show. It wasn't like Revolution. It wasn't like incredible match after incredible match, but it was good match after good match. The big thing was, I guess of the Canadians, Kyle O'Reilly did win, but Omega lost, Jericho lost. So
Copeland and Cage
lost, which surprised me. I expected Copeland and Cage to win. I don't know what the story is. I'll wait to see. But I thought Copeland and Cage should have won.
You don't know what the story is come the title match where they've been telling a story where these guys pile drive dude's wife and everything, and they both come back and then they're fighting. You don't know what the story is? Dave just goes through this routine of saying mush mouth bullshit. Why would you listen to this? And this is his review of the match or the show or whatever. Why would this get you excited for AEW? They don't understand how much this hurts by him going, this is the coolest stuff. This is the best stuff. Oh, this old fucking mentally ill grandfather. This is his favorite stuff. Oh, shit. It must be the uncoolest stuff in the world.
With MJF and Omega, either way, either decision was going to be fine in my mind.
Judas in my mind.
I know that when I mentally tried to lay out this year, I actually did have Omega winning the title.
Why do you need to mentally lay out the year? When I mentally laid out my booking to Tony Khan, my fantasy mark booking.
The best guy's Tony Khan.
What are you revealing, Dave? Are you booking the show? Did you lay this out did you write out your year? And then Tone goes, I'll consider it. Weird.
But not this early. And like I've said before, I wouldn't change it. But they may change it with Darby on Wednesday. So
and then
I think that with the role that the company appears to be on.
The role that they appear to be on. Oof.
My gut was, don't change the general when you're winning the war, so to speak. Eventually, yeah, you have to. But I thought it was too early for MJF to lose. But I also thought, in fact, it was the right time for Kenny Omega to win. Mm-hmm. But he can win later. He can win later in the year. I think he should win at some point.
Okay. So we move along here. We roll along as AEW's been doing, rolling along. And here we go. Garrett, Dave's best friend GG, gives his prestigious thumbs up for the week to their very own Dave Meltzer for Tony Khan booking Forbidden Door in San Jose, featuring all of Dave's favorite promotions and wrestling styles. So listen to this. It's the unmitigated shill cringe, fucking unhinged, unbridled levels of shillery that we have to deal with. And this is it right here. This Mark is giving a Mark Weekly Award to fucking Mark Dave Meltzer because Forbidden Doors in San Jose, because Tony Khan's booking for Dave Meltzer, like they literally give it to Dave. So even if Tone isn't doing this, which we know he is because he calls up Dave and he's been a fan since he was 13, we know that Dave and them are sitting there behind closed doors and on the air, patting themselves on the back, thinking that fucking it's all for them. It's all for you. You and the Observer, all for you.
So my thumbs up is for our own Dave Meltzer, because it was announced just the other day that Forbidden Door is going to be in San Jose. Now you have CMLL.
Are you thumbs upping Dave? Or are you thumbs upping?
I'm thumbs upping Dave because I feel like Forbidden Door is in San Jose probably because of him. Who covers CMLL?
See, when they say this, everyone goes, "Oh fuck, this company's doomed. This show's whack. It's all for Dave." Fuck, yucky, man. I keep getting emails. He's trying to bring me back as a fucking Observer subscriber. And returning subscribers get 25% off all year, dude.
In the U.S., like him, there's people who do, but not in as big of a scope as he does.
Yeah.
AEW is obvious. And CMLL is his favorite promotion from what it feels like in talking to him.
From what it feels like in talking to him, but then these guys go and watch wrestling with him, right? Like his friends go and watch wrestling with Dave, and it's AEW and stuff. They've talked about it. He's not inviting them over to watch CMLL, but then Dave's like, "Oh, I had friends over and some girls were over and they saw I put CMLL on and they were like, this is way more entertaining." Yeah, it's entertaining in that moment. They go, "Ooh, look at the pretty colors and whatever. Shiny objects flipping around." They wouldn't normally watch wrestling, Dave. And if they had to pick, they're going to pick the goofier looking shit. It might make them a lifelong fan. I fucking doubt it. How does Dave have the most brain damage? He never took a bump.
Obviously loves AEW's ring work. It's like the promotion is built for his taste in U.S. wrestling. And then you have New Japan Pro Wrestling.
I thought he was going to say in men.
Wrestling, which, when done in the right style, is his favorite overall style of pro wrestling. Like, I feel like...
So that doesn't make sense. So it's all his favorite? It's like one of those team hoppers. It's like someone, "Oh, yeah, I like this team. Now I like this team. Now I like this team." Someone asks you what your team is, you can answer it. Even if it's shameful, you should just be able to answer that question. This is my team. You know what I'm saying? If you're an actual fan. It's typically not like the rare occasion you have, like as a Canadian, if there's no Canadian teams in, like the playoffs in the NHL or something, okay, yeah, I might like ride hard for an American team or go, "I hope this team wins. I'm pulling for them." And then if they get knocked off, yeah, I'm pulling for this team. But my order goes, I'm an Edmonton Oiler fan, and then in the playoffs, if they are eliminated, what are the other Canadian teams? That's who I'm cheering for, right? Bottom of the list, Montreal Canadiens, right? So every other team comes before Montreal Canadiens. You just cheer for the Canadian teams, I liked the Avalanche. I liked, like, when I was younger, the Devils were cool and shit, but those aren't my fucking teams. So it's like, oh, Dave's favorite wrestling is this, and then his favorite wrestling's that, but CMLL he says is his favorite, but we all go there and watch this with him. Well, what the fuck, man? He just talks out of, it's just further proof he talks out of his ass.
When the idea of Forbidden Door came to Tony Khan, I'm sure in the back of his mind he's like, okay, well, we got to give Dave one of these cards.
Are we gonna have Cal Newman and Francisco Kira and who else is gonna be? Some luchador is gonna be at Dave's house.
Some luchador. This is how his friends talk about.
Would you please shut the hell up?
They're just tired of listening to Dave's shit, man. When it comes to these some luchador, this guy doesn't even know any luchadors.
If they're there, then I'm sure I will probably be there. So yeah, but seriously, the thing that's going to be really fun, and we haven't had this in a big way in a long time. So I'm trying to think of what is the last major card. New Japan would run those Battle in the Valley shows in San Jose. Yeah. When's the last big time card in San Jose? It's probably that WrestleMania 10 years ago, is my guess. So
2015,
from the way that wrestling is covered today, this is going to be our first time hosting a big show. So it'll be fun seeing the folks come out to San Jose.
Oh my God, these guys are so fucking boring. So I'm sure it will be fun that Tony booked you, and then someone made this AI video of fucking.
And then Killer Cross takes out Bobby Lashley, bro.
And Meltzer's all mad in his Tokyo fucking hoodie. Oh man. So we move along here. The star ratings for Dynasty. It was the greatest card of all time. Bucks versus Takeshita Okada, 5 stars. Ricochet Jericho, 3.75. Darby Allin versus Andrade, 4.5. FTR Adam Copeland, Christian Cage, 4.5. The Casino Gauntlet, 4.5. So you have a tag match, a one-on-one, and a gauntlet, 4.5. So they're all the same thing. They're all the same level, but they're all just uniquely different matches. And I'm not saying it's not possible, but like, is this a 4.5 of all of wrestling or just out of gauntlet matches? Like, we just need, I would love for Dave, he spends all this time writing. Why doesn't he just write out a criteria? I'll tell you why, because it's agenda driven. And he has to admit it's just opinion based, or will always be opinion based and therefore agenda driven. However, he doesn't want to admit that because then that means he's like everybody else who rates shit, right? Dave wants to be the Academy Awards. Nope, this is the best because we said it's the best. So Tekla versus Hayter, 3.75. Moxley Ospreay, 4.75. The Conglomeration, the Dogs, 3. MJF Omega, 4.75. So like what? One of the greatest all-time wrestling cards of all time. Meanwhile, Dave's in that clip talking about it. Well, it was okay. I mean, it wasn't as good as this other card, but it was pretty good, I guess. Multiple 4 or 5-star fucking matches. Like how does that make sense? Multiple 4 or 5-star match card. You're sitting there. Holy shit, dude! This is the greatest fucking event oh my god! And then this happened, and then bro, this happened. This guy came out. Holy shit! I couldn't believe. That's how you talk about it, if that's what it was, man. But it just wasn't that. And so he glazes the Young Bucks. This is just unhinged right here.
The Young Bucks match was one of the best matches I've ever seen live in my life. I was just like flabbergasted watching these guys.
Nick Jackson had a fantastic match.
Dude, both of these guys, I mean, they are absolutely
they're unbelievable.
Incredible. I mean,
they are.
I think part of it is because I wrestled,
See, Bry's been coping ever since I made that video about how he wrestled. Meanwhile, you cut to Bry wrestling.
Yesterday, they did a spot with Sean Ross Sapp. It was actually one of those deals where it's like
a Family Guy cutaway to Bry wrestling Sapp.
Is anyone going to care?
Here's him marking out for himself
about this. You know what I mean? But then because Sean was an actual official entrant, and I was just watching the show and tweeting the whole time. And then I was going to enter from my seat. So I didn't know if is this going to work or whatever. So when Sean came out, you know what everyone chanted?
What?
Meltzer's better. And then...
Oh, Dave loves that. Dave fucking loves that.
As soon as they did that, the camera guy
I didn't even know that.
Showed me, and then everyone figured out who I was. And so it actually did work out. And then...
Why would you know that? They said it as a joke. Dave, they are not really putting you over. You're both fucking dumb fucks, and so they're making fun of Sean.
Old Fuego del Sol
kicked you in the face,
kicked my fucking head off my head, and then I was eliminated, and that was the end of that.
Who won?
Shotzi.
That's right, Shotzi won. Did you?
Yeah. So actually,
So Dave didn't know that. See, this is Dave's such a liar. Oh, I actually didn't even know they said that. Yeah, you did, because then you knew that Buddy kicked his head off, like you're talking about. What do you mean?
They saved Shotzi from Sean Ross Sapp, so I can take credit for Shotzi winning the whole thing.
So did Shotzi go in there for an hour?
Well, Phil, I got in the car and I told Dave on the way here, man, that Fuego del Sol kicked my fucking head off. I'm sure he appreciates you calling him Fuego del Sol too. Doesn't he have a new name and a new character he's trying to go
or
by?
Something?
She was in there for a long time.
Okay, whatever. So there's Bryan just marking out for himself. We can maybe because I'm a wrestler, but these Young Bucks, boy, howdy, I tell you, yes, sirree.
I mean, I just watched these guys and I was like, I don't even know.
With all these faces, man, Bry could make a career doing cringe Chungus TikToks or whatever.
What they're doing, man. How do they do this? It's like everything. It's like what people used to say about Shawn Michaels, It's like he makes it look so easy. He makes it look like this business is so easy, but it's not. But he makes it look like it's so easy.
No, it's not the same. It really isn't, man. It really isn't. Shawn Michaels this is what he made looking easy. Being a quote-unquote smaller guy, he was taller, but he made I don't think he made it look easy, man. Shawn Michaels, go back and look at his shit. Look at his working punches. They're so good. Look at how he fought big guys. The story he would tell, the way he was like a quote unquote littler guy, but could tell the story of like, I'm going to go over on Diesel. I'm going to go over on Vader. I'm going to go over on fucking whoever, right? I can wrestle Undertaker. I can wrestle all these fucking guys. And he did, I guess, make it look easy. He made making a struggle look easy, but it's not easy. And the Bucks they don't have working punches like that. Yes, they can throw themselves around. They do the fucking, we're right here, spot, flip, whatever. A ginormous part of Shawn Michaels' game was selling his ass off. The Bucks is fucking get to this spot, flip, right here. Yes, the Bucks are impeccable at like super kick right there, turn around right now, flip over me, flip over, out the rope, run up the buckle, flip over to the outside. Chance, I flip, no tag. There's no tags and shit, no psychology. Shawn not only physically could do everything the Bucks do in his prime. He not only physically like flew around and whatever, he fucking bumped his ass off. He knew it was the psychology. He didn't just do all these moves to every match he ever had. To every opponent, he just does the same shit. It's not what HBK did. He knew how to work different opponents and get them over by bumping for them differently or understanding, like, again, throwing a good working punch. That goes without saying, but he wouldn't wrestle Okada Takeshita the same way he wrestled fucking Brody King and Buddy Matthews or whatever. The Bucks would. The Bucks will wrestle the Lucha Brothers the same way they wrestle Jungle Express, the same way they'd wrestle the Hurt Business. HBK wouldn't do that. So there's a whole other level, and you're comparing, I guess, the physical aspect, but HBK also didn't just go spot, 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 I land, and then my partner goes spot, 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 I land, then we all get in the ring, spot, 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 no tag, I land. Go and watch the tag match. Shawn Michaels, Diesel versus Scott Hall, 1, 2, 3 Kid. That's nothing like a Young Bucks match, like a Young Bucks tag match, okay? It's way, way, way different. And it's so good, and they use the psychology of the tagging in and out and trying to get to your corner. The Bucks throw that out the window, and it's just like, super kick, I'll hit you. We've both been in the ring for 15 seconds. Fly through the air, set up a table, do a stage dive, come back in the ring, Meltzer driver, kick out, double super kick, throw my foot to the ref throws my foot back, super kick, roll up, kick out. Next spot. Tags don't matter. The tags are an afterthought with the Bucks. So it's like, no, it's not like Shawn Michaels, buddy.
I'm watching this match, and these guys have been doing this a long time. You know, people said that about
over 20 years.
Yeah, people said that about Michaels in like 95, you know, and he was still pretty young, you know. But like, you watch these guys who have been doing this for so long, and it's just like, they are so fucking good. And of course, they're in there with like Okada and Takeshita. But man, like, just watching the work in this match and the story they told and how it played into everything with Okada and Takeshita. I mean, I watched this thing, and when it was over, I was like, just shut the show down. Like, may as well all go home now.
Oh, I know.
It was like, holy smokes. And like, the rest of the show was still like great, but
yeah, I don't know. I like the match. Like, I'm not hating on it, but it is just every time I'm watching the Bucks wrestle now, it's just this like, okay, they're just doing the same stuff with everybody. It really feels that way. And I don't want to see them in another stadium stampede or 4-way freeway match with the fucking, I don't know what it is with them. They need to do like, I guess, yeah, do like their retirement fucking tour. It seems like that's what they're gearing up to do. They're like reminiscing over all the babyface stuff and trying to be all babyface on BTE and fucking talk about, oh, we invented the stadium stampede and the rest is history and all of these things. So yeah.
And
it's funny because stadium stampede, like, oh, we did this match in our backyard, and it's like, okay, we invented the Stadium Stampede, and what did it do? It's in a video game that didn't draw. The match itself is never drawn, and the match itself was only implemented because you couldn't draw because of COVID. So you had to do something else. So really think about what impact did it have? Like, what is Stadium Stampede? It's just a brawl all over the arena. Everyone's done that. The hardcore titles were that. Like every fucking promotion's done that already. That's like nothing unique. How is that innovative? So it's weird that they're doing this sort of like their own farewell tour type thing, and they brought the kids out and everything, trying to do a John Cena, which I like them better as the babyface dudes with all their flips and stuff. And I'm not even hating on this match. And I do like Okada Takeshita. I think they've been milking their little grudge a little too long. So I'm not even shitting on the match, but these guys are just glazing the Bucks way too hard. Like, this is unhinged. Look at Bry's face. He's transforming into fucking Pennywise.
It's like they're doing something different from everybody else. That's what I thought watching this match. I just thought they're doing something different from everybody else.
Yeah, they're not abiding by the tag rules, whereas everybody else abides by the tag rules. And that's what's different, right? And so Dave Meltzer here, he compares. He breaks down the difference between seeing a WWE and AEW show live in person. Well, Tony Khan flies me in, and then I get someone to rub my feet, and then I get to eat catering with the boys. I'm allowed in the EVP's locker room, and then I get all access free tickets to the front row. And at WWE, I mean, I just had to buy my tickets behind Michael Cole if I wanted any attention, Bryan. I did that purposefully to be seen.
They're not the same product, and it's not a fair comparison, but I sit there and go to both. And it's like one is so explosive and athletic and harder hitting. And Seth and Gunther, they were hard hitting. They had a match, but they're still slower. They are working slow. I mean, like, that was the one thing when I went to the San Jose show. After the two San Jose shows, it's like one show, the whole pace of everything is so much slower, and the reaction is so much less. And it's like
so he's in a building with 17,000 people, and he's like, the reaction is less than when I'm in a room with 2,000 to 4,000 sickos, and they're way more fucking popping for all the crazy, oh my God, flip. Yeah, because it's an indie, bro. Like, that's what you do at indies. You want longevity. You want to be the global superpower of pro wrestling, like Tony Khan and all these guys. Because what else is the cope over? I don't get it. Why do we compare these companies? Why is Tone taking shots? Why are the wrestlers all coping? Oh, they want to be WWE. They wish they had the WrestleMania-sized crowds and shit. Okay, so to achieve that, that's good. You want that. You can make believe whatever's good. All you want. That's subjective. Now let's objectively quantify what will get you to the promised land, so to speak. What will get you to where you can compare these two in any real form or fashion? Well, you got to treat it like a fucking real business, crunch the numbers, figure out what works, what's everlasting. And again, Hogan slamming Andre was slower, man, and that will last forever. I don't remember one spot in the fucking Young Bucks Takeshita Okada match because they fucking do the same. I guess I do remember it because they do the same shit. Okay, they do the same fucking comeback shit. I remember the super kicks. I remember the enziguri in the fucking corner. Whatever, okay? The fucking dives, it's the same thing every goddamn time. And I'm not saying Hulk Hogan hulking up this like the same way every fucking time is the same thing as that either. But it's not just the Bucks who do that. Everybody does that in AEW too, for the most part. Kevin Knight can go out there, do every single fucking things the Bucks do. Bry's like, oh, it's like Shawn Michaels. Dude, Kevin Knight could go and do every fucking move, mimic it, make it look just as good, probably do it faster, and he's younger, and you pay him way less. And it ain't, you know what I mean? Is he super over? Is he the super over guy? They're doing a good job building him up right now, I guess. But it's like, come on, man. There's just levels to all of this stuff. And yes, we know the sickos are popping for like move. Just like at indies. If I went to an indie, I would fucking laugh and, oh, that's funny if Joey Janela was wrestling the kid, wrestling Brody Lee Jr. I'd be like, holy shit, look at that kid's crazy. That kid's crazy. Is that the global superpower? Is that what mainstream wrestling should be? Or is that what it's going to be? Or is that even what it can be? I say, I don't even think it can be that.
There's a mentality that the slower is superior because it leads time to breathe and it leads you to psychology, blah, blah, blah. And
see, to Dave, psychology's blah, blah, blah. The actual artistry, the actual veteran skill, taking time, doing less, not really fucking ourselves up. Again, you want to talk about Gotch and Londos. They invented wrestling so they didn't have to fuck themselves up as much. And so that they could wrestle more and they could do less and they could create the fucking spectacle by doing more with their character and stuff. So they physically, because a bunch of these old timers too, they couldn't hang with like the real shooters anymore too. And they're like, we need to keep making money. How do we do this? So they start adopting the fucking characters and stuff. There's a bunch of documentaries on this shit. So Dave wants to talk about everybody needs to study and learn. He talks about Hulk Hogan. No, you need to learn about Gotch and fucking Santo and stuff. It's like, buddy, why was Santo such a big deal? Because fucking movies and shit that he did. Santo didn't even do like that craziest shit either. He really didn't. Like at the time, it was like, holy fuck. But I was watching like some old, and I don't know, dude, was it his kid? I know his kid wrestled as like, I think there's been a couple Santos over the years too. A few of them. But yeah, I made an El Santo. Well, I didn't make him. I downloaded it off Community Creations on 2K26. And I was like, fuck, dude, I need to look up like what are some of the actual moves he did. She said a generic ass move set, right? And I'm like, well, what would his finisher be? So I like was Googling shit. It was like a couple weeks ago, maybe a few weeks ago. And some of his footage, like from his movie, so he'd have a match in his movie, you know what I mean? And he was just doing like a head scissor takeover. That was like the craziest thing. Otherwise, he was just running and like drop kicking you into shit. It was good stuff. But yeah, the whole idea was like do less and make more money, get more heat. And then they discovered, oh, you get more heat if you focus on this shit. And you can become larger than life. And Dave just goes, that's all blah, blah, blah bullshit. Go and fall on your head, Osprey. It's like, fuck you.
Everything means more. And if people reacted more, I would say, okay, you're onto something. But they react way less. So it's like, are you really onto something or are you behind the times?
No, it's not behind the times. It's called longevity. Because, Dave, if what you're saying was a thing, it would go ultra viral. Okay, for instance, when the Sabres sing the Canadian national anthem, it goes fucking viral. When all of these dudes in the playoff, the game starts, everyone starts throwing fists. It goes viral. In the NBA playoffs, when two guys shove each other and then it all gets broken up, it goes viral. When Osprey lands on his fucking head and the crowd's going, holy shit, fight forever. He's got a horse cock or whatever the fuck they were chanting the other week. Nobody gives a fuck. And it doesn't go viral and no one cares. In the IWC bubble, sure. Okay? Oh, well, Leo Rush kind of went viral. Yeah, there was a bunch of people mocking it and going, oh, if wrestling's fake, then explain this shit. It became one of those things. Okay? And so, Dave, he just, behind the times, buddy, we're the Pro Wrestle Times. Behind the times, like Dave, no, man. It's just about longevity. It is the times, okay? You have to milk Javon Evans. Trust me. Not literally, not physically.
Or, with WWE, again, I think a lot of the crowd is there to be there, and a lot of the crowd is there to see the interviews and the entrances, and they're not there so much to see the wrestling, and they don't really care until they perceive the finish coming. And at that point, then they'll care.
So they just want to see interviews and shit is what he's saying? Like, what is this?
And they're not there so much to see the wrestling, and they don't really care until they perceive the finish coming. And
No, until they perceive the finish coming. That's all of wrestling. Just because AEW gets people peaked and then they don't do the finish and do 7 false finishes doesn't mean that's better. And it's proven the way WWE does it is drawing fucking better. And if AEW did a little bit more of that, there's a reason why TNA was shitting the bed and now they're fucking doing better because they're doing an alternative of WWE. Right? You have to go, and even AEW starting to do this, Dave. They're opening shows with packages and recaps and stuff like this. And they're not just there to see entrances, but that's a huge part of it. And maybe if AEW made people's entrances cooler and they made their stage cooler and more unique, and they got rid of the fucking white ropes and they tried not to look like WWE light, it would work better. Right?
And at that point, then they'll care.
Yeah, I don't know. That sounds like a lot of fucking coping. And again, you know what Dave says, like WWE fans are low IQ and
poor people don't like AEW.
People are just getting tired of hearing that shit. Sean Anigans 158 for 5 says $5 more in pursuit of exposing Uncle Dave for seething and coping like he's done since the 80s. Time cop. Bro, since longer than that. When did he start writing for pro wrestling? It's been like what? Yeah, the 80s, right? Is that when he like really came on the scene? So I don't know, man. When you ask Bischoff, he's been doing this the whole fucking time. When you ask people who've been in the biz, this is what he's been doing, is bullshitting. A lot of us just grew up looking at him as like, oh, he's just writing it down and he's the one everyone looks to. Then you become an adult and you realize, oh my God, he's just been a fraud. And I'm glad he wrote down all the history and stuff back then. But now there's computers that can do that, and he's just obsolete. You know what I'm saying? And he's a goddamn liar.
Tell us what you know, you goddamn liar!
Kyrie Sane's trending. So we got more Dave Meltzer, AEW glazing, and he actually gets into it with Bryan Alvarez, but first he defends Ospreay's terrible fucking selling. Non-selling. Ospreay just doesn't sell for shit.
So Will Ospreay versus Mark Davis. Now, as a match, it was great. Okay?
It was a great match.
But Will Ospreay comes out and he's wrapped up like he's at
So what makes it a great match? Well, they went strong style and they were both showed good athleticism, and then he fell on his head a few times. A great match. So like how memorable it was doesn't account for anything. Like no one's going to remember that. Well, they'll remember the apron spot. No, because he just got pile drived on the stage. It all bleeds together for any normal person.
His present wrapping party. He is just taped all over his neck, the back of his neck, his back, his shoulder. He's all taped up like a mummy. And he comes out and he just starts getting killed. And
I gotta say this, for a guy who last week took all this heat for not being able to sell or not selling.
No, stop. Who is saying this, Dave? You need to get off Twitter.
Okay.
The problem is he's selling too much.
No. You guys, fuck. They think that wrapping yourself in bandage, well, that means you're selling the whole time. Nope. He sells too much. No, he doesn't. When you get dropped on your head and, oh, his gimmick is he's really hurt, bruv, and he's going to keep going. When your neck is fucked up like that, you're not moonsaulting out of shit, landing in a T-pose, running, hitting this fucking move. It's like selling means like in between the moves. You take a move or you deal a move, but your neck's still bothering you. Like, fuck, man. You know how many people deal with back and neck problems? We understand when your neck's hurting, you need to sell that shit. Okay? Hulk Hogan did a body slam. He still sold his back till the day he died. One of the greatest of all time. Fuck whatever Dave's talking about. One of the greatest of all time. He did a body slam to Andre the Giant, sold it till the day he fucking died. Okay? Ospreay's not doing that. He fucking gets pile driven on the stage. Okay, that should be, he's out for a week. He should not be cleared. He should be begging Tony Khan, please, bruv, I've done everything. They've attacked me. They've mocked me. What do I got to do, Tone? Give me a match. Give me a warm-up match, and if I look, okay, whatever. Then he's got to go out there and every move, every fucking thing he throws in there until he does his Hulk up spot, and even then, he's got to fucking sell that shit. He doesn't. Okay, you can't come back from neck fusion, then get pile driven on the apron, and then you get attacked from behind the next week. Then you're just chasing guys up the ramp after someone fucking Todd Bertuzzi'd you from behind. You have neck problems, dude. We want to see that. We want to see you fake a fucking, remember, who was it? I think like Owen Hart, the one time he like collapsed in the ring. Or was it Shawn Michaels? Who was it that like faked a concussion? Like they just collapsed in the ring one time on WWF TV. I forget. My memory's foggy on that. But fake a thing like that. Even Daniel Bryan would do the drop kick off the top and then he'd just fucking lay there. And you're like, oh shit, is he hurt? Then he'd do the kip up. And he was hurt. We know Ospreay's really hurt. If he takes an apron driver, he's written off TV for a month. Because if this is a video game, his meter's in the fucking red. We need some rhyme or reason. We can't just have Tony Khan pull up on his fucking Twitter live and go, well, Will Ospreay said he wants a match, so I'm just going to give him one. He barely passed medicals. He just barely scraped by. It's like, that's not how medical examinations work. You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, that fucking ACL's hanging on by a thread of meat, so I guess you just barely passed. You scored a 51 on this medical test. Like, the fuck are you talking about? This is the problem. And Brian's like, no, the problem is he sells too much. No, he doesn't. The problem is we understand his neck's fucked. Then you keep doing fucked up shit to his neck, right? But the thing that made him go and get the fusion surgery looks less fucked up than the thing Mark Davis just did to him on Collision on the apron. And that comes a week after he got pile driven on the ramp. So the fact he's even in a match this week, Brian, means he's not selling. Selling means when Sandman takes the fucking cigarette to the eye and then he doesn't answer the door and he wears a bandage on his fucking face and he sells it and people really think he's blind. That's selling. Seth Rollins, when you guys get all triggered, oh, he's out there playing with his daughter with a fucking boot on. That's selling. This is not selling. What Ospreay does is, oh, he wrapped himself up. Yeah, it's because, yes, it's cool. Like Hulk Hogan did it too. He wrapped up the ribs and shit, brother. But then he sold the goddamn ribs. Okay. No, he didn't. He picked King Kong Bundy up. Yeah, that was him overcoming. He doesn't do flips. He's a power guy. So Ospreay, he does flips and shit, right? So obviously your neck's going to be fucked. So that's where Ospreay needs to adjust, where like he avoids taking any neck damage and he's selling it the whole time. He barely scrapes through. You can do all that shit, but he hits like 1-2 big fucking, I guess he does the running elbow, but it's just the way he powers up. He'll no sell a move, hit the elbow, or like eat a finisher, hit the elbow, collapse. And it's like, no, this is stupid. So anyway,
he needs to stop selling so much.
Okay, well, that's not my discussion point. They are trying to tell this story. I don't like the story.
It sucks.
Okay, I don't like the story because it's like he needs to be built up to be the world champion.
Yeah.
But I have to
Bry's like, yeah, no shit.
This guy's selling in this match was absolutely incredible.
Yes, he was great at selling.
It was so believable. I mean, like when people talk about
No, it's not, man. It's not believable, bro. Fuck, this is the problem. We're just on two different planes of existence. They're on the side of we're snobby critics and this is Wagyu beef, but now it's actually ramen noodles beef flavor because it costs 2 cents and yeah, it's actually fun and there's money behind it. You know, everybody enjoys ramen from time to time, but it's like it ain't Wagyu beef though. Then we sell the cheap tickets and I'm sitting here trying to be an art snob and say that it's fucking better than what is the Wagyu beef now. You know, Dave is just such a chuckle fuck.
Selling in pro wrestling, they think of this fake selling that doesn't look real at all.
Oh
He's
man,
out-
no, Dave, no. But yes, but no. The thing is like Shawn Michaels is selling. Ric Flair, they got over by selling. The way they sell is kind of over the top and it's kind of dramatic, and that is what sells in pro wrestling. Because if you watch MMA, you don't sell the way, like, we can watch real fighting. MMA's been on regular TV for everyone to consume for fucking how many years now? And you understand, like, that's not how people react. And you'd get black eyes and shit if someone was just knuckle punching you in the fucking face a bunch of times and shit. Right? So we understand, like, in pro wrestling, when you're selling like MMA style and you do the Cain Velasquez Brock thing, that doesn't work in pro wrestling. Even Zack Sabre Jr., do you think if he did a jiu-jitsu match, all those fucking funny holds he does would work? And that's actually the most technical shit? Because technically a bunch of those fucking holds are stupid and they leave you open for in a real technical match. But in Dave's mind, that's real and technical. You have to understand something. There's nothing phonier than a fucking guy getting pile driven on his neck on the fucking apron after coming back from neck fusion with his back all bandaged and then doing the shit Will Ospreay does. And no selling his fucking leg. Like, people understand the consequences when two guys in an MMA fight go flying out of the cage, or someone gets starched and they drop backwards through the ropes. People understand the magnitude of what that means. That could mean death, Dave. And just for Ospreay, he just pops up, throws an elbow, match next week, reverses, flip, reverse. His best match was with Pac, because Pac was just working top guy speed. Pac was wearing him down, working over his neck until the ending, because that's when they go flip. Ospreay's no selling. It's his turn to do moves, so he's no selling. If you work with a veteran, if Ospreay works with a vet, slows it down, and fucking they go, no, we're selling. You're selling your fucking neck. Yeah, he can do just fine. He sells well. He's not, I don't particularly go, oh man, he's incredible at this. But what he does is phony. What Kenny Omega does is phony as fuck. But Kenny's selling. Like when he does like the goofy, his stomach's bursting and the fucking blood comes out of his mouth. That shit's so bad. But he's had matches like when he worked Gabe Kidd and shit in Japan. Like, yes, his selling was on point. Kenny's selling is kind of phony though. And that's what, I mean, some people argue. I know Jim Cornette's like, oh, the people who trained him said he couldn't sell for shit and he does whatever. Don't use him as an example. Use like any other wrestler. All I'm saying is that the best sellers are kind of phony, and that's what we love about it because it's pro wrestling. You need that, or else you're just watching MMA, or else people are getting knocked out when they're eating big punches in the corner. You're just starched and dropped, and your fingers go stiff. The realest selling, Dave, the realest thing would be your fingers twitch out and you're fucking all starched up, and that's what happens if you get apron drive. Go and do a fucking pile driver to someone on a wood plank or the curb of a fucking sidewalk. Hit them with a pile driver after they just had neck fusion and see what happens. People end up in wheelchairs and shit, Dave. Like, that's the problem. So the selling's bad because that move Mark Davis should have resulted in, oh, now I'm in a wheelchair and then I have to do physio, and then when I come back, I'm going to kill you. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what that should have been. You just blow. It's hot shot booking. Because he got pile drove on the stage like a week or two before that, and he rushed the neck fusion, and he doesn't look like super jacked, and he's not. And it's also once he starts doing his sequences, he's not selling. So again, you watch some of the people in WWE. You watch even like a Penta. Let's go with the guy who was in AEW. It's the things he does in between the moves and his turn. Oh, it's my turn now. It's like the Bucks, man. That's why they're not the greatest. Oh, it's my turn to hit all the spots. I'm going to no sell. It just doesn't really fucking work. And again, people go, well, Hulk Hogan got over doing that. Yeah, but he fucking hulked up. Look at Austin. Stone Cold sold some of the realists. I would say like him, Bret Hart, even Shawn Michaels in a lot of ways, but he just like would fly Like he could just fly, right? Like someone could throw him up and he'll just fucking go. And yeah, I mean, obviously Hulk Hogan, he showed like what he could really, when he wrestled Hulk Hogan, he showed like I could make a mockery out of this if I wanted to. And he fucking did. But that's actually one of the funniest. Dude, I go back to those highlights like every now and again. You just got to rewatch that match, Hulk Hogan and HBK, to just see how ridiculous Sean was being. The best is when Hulk Hogan big boots HBK. And then, you know, like, so it's like big boot. And then Hogan runs, hits the rope, runs leg drop. Most people eat the boot. They just lay flat, eat the leg drop. 1, 2, 3. HBK eats the big boot, like flips over, gets up on his feet, spins around, hits the deck, falls down, all before Hulk hits the rope and gets back to him with the fucking leg. It's the funniest selling of all time. And honestly, that's what a lot of AEW guys feel like when they just do some of these spots and shit. I'm sorry, that's Ospreay comes across more like that. And I'm glad that a guy like Pac can be like, no, you're going to sell your ass off. But again, man, it's phony as fuck. When you put chopsticks in people's heads, it's phony. When you get neck fusion and then do spots like this multiple weeks in a row with pile drivers on aprons and stages and concrete and steel steps like Mox did, that's phony. And yeah,
up there, and the way he's like wiggling his fingers and all of this stuff, it's like he is selling at a level with so much more depth. Which is what Omega does as well, which is but it's like,
which is different. But no, it's different because why? Omega's over the top. So Dave, you're putting over his little finger wiggles because he should be more animated, and you're popping now that Ospreay's showing because he's listening to the criticism. He's listening to DMDMW and PWT confirmed. No, but Ospreay is realizing he needs to be a little more animated. And I'm not saying he eats the pile driver and then doesn't act like KO'd, but look at when Maxine Dupree got laid out by Natty Neidhart. She was laid out. Everybody's like, is she dead? Because she was selling it like she looked like a real world star hip hop video knocked out person. 100%. And that's why everyone went, whoa, this is weird. It's uncomfortable because it's not wrestling selling, you know? And again, there has to be a distinction, right? Like when fucking Arman Sarukian dumps you on your fucking head, when Quentin Rampage Jackson power bombs a motherfucker to the center of the earth, there's real, you know, people don't, that's some scary selling, dude. That shit, I don't know, that might sell tickets in like a real violent, people who want to see like real fucking violence, and that's what it is. You guys think Dave's just asked backwards. I don't know. I beat this to death. Let's fucking Dave. The key point though is that Dave's losing it and Brian's getting fed the fuck up. We got more clips.
This one, I mean, like, look, he lost the match to Mark Davis. Who would have thought that,
dude?
You know?
And that's the thing. Ospreay just comes back and he's just being buried. None of them want to become stars. Ospreay and them are like, dude, I'm getting my millions from Tone. I'll just put over who I want. And then I'll let whoever he wants beat me. And then I'll fucking, and nobody's going to become a star because of that. And again, it's like Tone's paying these guys for his fandom of their prior work. It's pretty fucking nutty. And so we just watched that clip. But Dave also gave the Darby Allin Tommaso Ciampa match 5 stars. So now Ciampa is a 5-star warrior, a 5-star recipient, leaves WWE, never got a 5-star before, leaves WWE.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
One of the greatest of all time. And that's not a knock on Ciampa. I said the same thing about the Rascals. I love all the Rascals. They rule. But they were doing the same shit they did in the Mile High Mayhem match. Never got 5 stars. Ever. Dave wasn't fucking with it. Dave wasn't going, man, these Rascals are fucking. He wasn't putting over fucking any of these guys. Zachary Wentz is the next fucking. Everybody connects with them. Everybody loves them. Everybody loves their backstage shit. Everybody likes their bong rip theme music. People like fucking MSK, right? People love Wesley, whatever, Dez, however you want to fucking. Myron Reed was the guy on the indies. Dave isn't sitting there glazing it going 5-star matches. Myron Reed doing 5-star matches. They go and do a match with the Bucks. Oh, it's 5 stars.
Poor people don't like AEW.
Ciampa, same thing. Comes over, 5-star match with Darby. Okay. We see what you're doing here. And so here's Dave putting over Darby, speaking of Darby. And Bry's going to get more fed up with Dave in just a minute, but Dave is like, Darby takes such crazy punishment and still moves as well as he does. And it's like, Darby's 75 pounds.
I mean, Darby's just insane. And, they let him be insane. I don't know if that's the right thing. It scares me. He's still alive. He's still moving. He's not in a wheelchair. I mean, he moves well. I constantly think that he's going to pay the price when he gets older. I don't know, I don't know what his pain threshold is. And I know he said that he's got hurt worse doing skateboard stuff. And I have seen some of the skateboard stunts he's done, and they do look more dangerous than his wrestling stuff. So I believe that he's telling the truth. He is just, like Jeff Hardy was a crazy guy, but this guy's, way further out than Jeff Hardy was.
He's way less impressive than Jeff Hardy, though. And again, Jeff Hardy, you want to talk about influence and legacy? We're going to get to a time where Dave Meltzer's trying to argue Darby has more. Darby was in Jackass 5. I swear he'll say some shit like that in 20 years. But listen, Jeff Hardy would do shit like, I'm going to set up a ladder, then I'm going to set up another ladder, and then I'm going to hopscotch from one ladder over another ladder, leg drop through the announce table. Shit like that. Darby doesn't do. I mean, yeah, he jumps off a ladder through the glass. Okay, Jeff Hardy would do that if Jeff Hardy was a mark, that's what he'd have done. But he'll just do the swanton through the fucking table. Like Jeff innovated that. So I don't know how Darby's crazier other than he'll fall backwards from further. He'll zip line down from the roof. Sting did that. He'll do these crazy skateboard stunts, I guess, in that regard, right? But I don't think Jeff Hardy's a skateboarder. We're talking in pro wrestling. And then he'll do the backwards apron bump. But as far as like actual crazy innovation, I'm going to jump off my brother over the top rope into fucking... Now, Jeff was there first, but we haven't seen Darby do... I mean, he did like the truck stomp with the skateboard the one time where he like did an acid drop or whatever the fuck it's called in skateboarding, where he jumped on the deck and then like stomped. That was cool. I mean, he should have done more stuff like that. But instead he just like put thumbtacks on his deck or whatever. You guys remember that? I'm just going to put thumbtacks on things. It's like, all right, well, people already do that too. So Darby maybe goes like just hurling himself down the stairs. Okay, maybe that is more extreme as far as like getting fucking hurt. But as far as like badass and cool and what's going to resonate and stuff like that, Jeff Hardy by forever a mile. The innovative things he did.
But he's in his 30s. I mean,
and Jeff Hardy, you can see he feels the effects of that stuff. It's amazing he's still in the condition he's in.
In that sense, he's beating the odds because a lot of people thought he would be done by now, and
Who thought he'd be done? Nobody said that Darby would be done wrestling by now. Well, Jim Cornette said in 5 years he'd be paralyzed. Yeah, here's the thing. Jim Cornette is an entertainment program, and he's speaking with exaggeration, and he's being, flagrant, and he's putting on an entertainment show. Dave, you believe, and this is the problem, is that Dave projects this on other people. He thinks every word he speaks is gospel. He's one of the Eternals. He's Uatu, the Watcher. Everything, he's God. Everything he speaks is fucking factual. It is history, documented, fact, what it is, no matter what. And then if it wasn't that, then he writes it down, or all of his tweets. Oh, I was wrong about this. Let me tweet something out about it, or let me not tweet about this, but write about my tweet in a book and then correct the record. But everything's the record, but you have to follow every word of it. And it just keeps going. That's what cult leaders do. Oh man, there's more of the Bible here. Fucking Jesus came and told me all this extra new stuff in a room by myself that is fact and you have to follow by by it, or else you don't learn the truth. You don't know the truth. You don't accept reality. You're a fraud. That's literal, like, poison Kool-Aid drinking cult shit.
Seemingly, I don't know if he's Gumby or what, but seemingly, I mean, it's not, I'm sure he's
Dave's brain is Gumby.
hurting, but it's like the way he moves. I mean, he moves fast. When your body is completely shot and everything, and you're...
It's not completely shot, and he's not crippled. Dave's making a non-point. Oh, Darby does this crazy stuff. When you're all crippled and fucked up, you can't do crazy stuff. But he moves fast and can do all this crazy stuff. Yeah, because he's not crippled. He's like Spike Dudley. What don't you understand about that? Spike Dudley's not all fucked up either. He took crazy bumps. They weigh 70 pounds.
Crippled? The one thing you can't do is move fast, and he moves real fast. So
Darby, Dave just called you fucked up and crippled, dude.
Will he feel it later in life? Yeah, I'm almost sure he will. But he ain't feeling it. He's not feeling it yet.
So then what was the anecdote about him moving fast? Why'd you even bring that up? Oh my God. So Wavy Davy, he gets into it with crying Bryan Alvarez here. And they get into an epic little bitch fit. And again, Bryan follows up. Crying Bryan doesn't really like this Death Riders Osprey stuff.
Bryan.
And neither do I. It is the cheesiest, phoniest. It's Mox trying to be cool. Osprey just does whatever. They think they're like, oh, Moxley beat him, and now he's going to try and get him in the crew, and then Osprey's going to say no and then beat him, bruv. And then he's going to win and then go and fight. It's just ass. It's garbage. People are tired of Mox. He 1 week cuts a baby face promo and gives everyone respect, but he's also a heel asshole who kidnaps people and all this shit. It just makes no sense. It's terrible storytelling. It's phony. It's more Moxley. I'm cool. Shooby-doo wah wah. Blood man. I'm really cool. Isn't this cool, guys? He's just so uncool. He just doesn't understand what resonates. This is more of the fake tough guy shit. And this is why Baron Corbin, notice what Baron Corbin does. He starts a team with Dijak in there. We're the skyscrapers, pal. And he goes out there and he pro wrestles and he gets heat. And he fucking, you know what I mean? And he pro wrestles. And people are like, dude, Corbin rules. And he goes out there and he wins medals at jiu-jitsu championships. So he's a real motherfucker because that's real. And he understands the difference between pro wrestling and real. Moxley does shit like he thinks it's real, like Dave and, oh, it's too real, Bryan. And Moxley thinks this is like real tough shit. And then a guy who works at Chili's taps him out in a fucking white belt tournament. Okay? That's the fucking difference. And again, there's just some people who understand what I'm saying. And I hope it makes sense to you all out there. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments below or off to the side there. But with Moxley and Dave and shit, they don't get it. Thank God Bryan is saying it. And Bryan understands this a little bit. You know, he does jiu-jitsu and whatnot. He's certified. He's a brown or a black belt. And I believe, right? I think he's a brown belt. And so he does understand that. And that's why this doesn't resonate with him. But that's also why Bry does such goofy shit in pro wrestling. Because he does understand that silly, flamboyant. That is an element of the pro wrestling. Like, say what you will, Roman Reigns figured it out. He cuts these promos like, yeah, we see what you do when you went to real fighting, Phil. This is my industry. And he makes it real while also putting over the fact that he's doing the entertainment aspect, because otherwise it's kind of silly that he goes out there and fake fights. You guys get what I'm saying? It's suspending the disbelief. So I'm still going to roast Tryon Bryan's like shitty, shindy, indie, bad fucking early 90s WWF style bullshit indie shit that he partakes in. Of course, I'll still bury it and make fun of it. It's bad. But Bryan understands this to some degree. So for Bryan, we'll give him a Bryan and we'll give him a base Dave E flute here, okay? He's about to go off on Meltzer.
If you watch Dynamite and you are one of the 60% that did not watch Collision, all you know is on Dynamite last week, Will Ospreay was kidnapped by the Death Riders.
Mm-hmm.
And a week later, he's now friends with them and training with them.
It is so fucking dumb. It's so bad. Everybody wanted Ospreay to milk his return, come back like a month or two out from All In, jacked to the fucking gills. Whoa, music hits. Dun, 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 dun. He makes a superhero save. He fucking, because of the save, he by proxy gets in a #1 contender match, or he evokes some shit. Before I got injured, bruv, I beat this guy, and if he's next in line, whatever the fuck, however you play it, right? And then that's when he gets his shot at All In. He gets crowned at All In. That should have been his fucking storyline. That's what everybody wanted. Instead, he just came back. He's not in this crazy shape. He's doing nothing new. He's no selling. Oh, he's selling too much. Why does he have a thing strapped? Why is his bag strapped over his shoulder? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? If his neck's that bad and he's making all these millions and it's a shoot and it's too real, they're not working out in dungeons like this. Okay. You're fucking making millions. You got brought in. You're an international superstar with feather robes with gold on them, gold tassels and shit. Okay. You fucking have someone carry your bags. You're bandaged up. You can't train. You couldn't train with Mox. You got pile driven on the fucking apron. That's what it should be. It's just fucking terrible.
But they did explain.
No, they didn't. They said they had a talk on Collision.
The announcer said they had a
talk on Collision.
Yeah, that's what they said. They already told
Dave, this sucked. You've got to show people stuff. This aired on Collision, dude. 370,000 viewers.
Well, probably a lot more than that because we're not including HBO Max.
Okay, well, if we're not, Dave.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. They did 370, but we're not including HBO Max. So how many do you think is on there, asshole? What the fuck?
370,000 viewers.
Well, probably a lot more than that because we're not including HBO Max.
Okay, well, if we're not, Dave.
Oh my God, Dave is just coping. Cue the music.
You are coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping and seething. The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding and coping so hard, coping and seething.
It's like, dude, you gotta be fucking shitting me. So let's say Dynamite did 400,000, right? So out of or 400,000 more viewers, pardon me, than Collision, right? Let's just say they did actually it'd be less than that. Let's say they did 670. 6.7 was like one of their last ratings. So let's say they did 200,000 viewers more. And they did like 670 as opposed to no, he said 370, right? So that would be 300,000 more. Sorry, IR math. So they did 370 and then let's say Dynamite did 670. So are those 300,000 extra people on Max? Prove that. There's not even 300,000 extra watching on fucking Dynamite every Wednesday.
Went from this fucking guy got kidnapped to now he's training with them.
Right.
And the only explanation is they had a talk on Collision. You should have showed the fucking talk. So people can understand what happened. What did Moxley say? But they didn't. It gets better.
I know. He says he's not
Moxley
cleared.
says, are you cleared yet? Ospreay says no.
No.
Ospreay then says, I'm going to Japan to wrestle with the boys this weekend.
Yes. That one made no sense at all.
Okay, thank you for acknowledging that one made no sense.
That one made no sense. And he's not cleared. He's going to Japan for a trios championship match this weekend.
What? So then how is he selling so good? He's just taking side quest trios championship matches?
And he was training with them, even though not cleared, because they kicked the cameras out. And it was like, Ospreay goes, where's the ring? He goes, we don't train in the ring. And him and Claudio are going to go at it for training purposes. So he's not cleared. He's training, which in fact, when you're not cleared, you should not be training. So yes, this From a logical standpoint, there were many great lapses of logic in this. Yes.
So, okay, with WWE, it's just, I mean, come on, I covered this 3 years ago. There's no, it's just a lapse in logic. It's WWE's cooked. Their creative's so bad, right? With AEW, there were multiple lapses in logic. Yeah, this whole fucking thing. It's everything that they do this whole time. And I've been saying this for goddamn ever. Now, next week, Dave will just dismiss this. Oh, they had a great match. I mean, they're just on a roll. Dude, this is a misstep. Dave wants to pretend they're always perfect. It's fucking crazy. It's just terrible. It makes no sense. And then Dave copes and brings up HBO Max. So, like, how many people watch Collision? Because you guys want us to believe 300,000 are watching the Dynamite show every Wednesday. That's not the case. Dave goes, well, I never said 500,000, but it's likely 500,000. That's the game he's trying to play when he says that. So it's not 500,000 for Collision, surely, no? So it for surely did under the 700, whatever the fuck Dynamite did, plus the Max number. Like, why would you even argue Bryan on this? It's just crazy. So, and even Bryan is like, dude, the number's the number. Like, what are we going to cope about? Nielsen inflation or Nielsen not count or street, like, shut the fuck up. It's so fucking stupid. You just got to listen to this again.
But they did explain.
No, they didn't. They said they had a talk on Collision.
The announcer said they had a
talk on Collision.
Yeah, that's what they said. They already told
Dave, this sucked. You've got to show people stuff. This aired on Collision, dude. 370,000 viewers.
Well, probably a lot more than that because we're not including HBO Max.
Okay, well, if we're not, Dave, hold on a second. If we're not including Max, we're not including Max for Dynamite either. So even more people didn't.
That's exactly it, dude. That's the thing. Like, Dave will play these fucking games and Bryan's like, aha, I got you. I fucking got you. And it's like, dude, this is the gotcha I get you fuckers in every week.
See it.
Right. But also, that number is probably way low because the
point is, Dave.
Oh my God, the number's probably way low. Of course, he's got to make a goddamn excuse. Actually, that number's even lower than low. It's the lowest. It's a top number, Bryan. It wasn't a top number, but it was a top number, Bryan.
Half the people watch
the fuck up
Collision that watch Dynamite.
We'll see.
So he wants to pretend that, well, you know what? Dynamite comes on, they do 670, right? And then there's 5 on TV, and then there's 500,000 watching on Max. Well, guess what, Bri? Collision does a 370, and those same 500,000 are watching on Max. Is that what he wants us to believe? Like, it would be half the amount, probably more than half, that watch Dynamite on streaming or watching Collision on streaming.
We'll see when these numbers come out.
Okay. It's about half.
It was about two. It was just under 2/3 this
All
week.
right. So half the people.
Just under 2/3.
Those people went from this fucking guy got kidnapped to now he's training with them.
Right.
And the only explanation.
Right. I mean, it's normal.
Is they had a talk on Collision. You should have showed the fucking talk. So people can understand what happened. What did Moxley say? But they didn't. It gets better.
And even if they showed the talk, it's just fucking terrible. Just like these two assholes talking, it's fucking super terrible. It sucks, it stinks, and it's garbage. And it will forever be garbage because Moxley is just the uncoolest guy. You guys put it over, and Ospreay doesn't care. And again, we're just seeing guys who didn't learn properly how to. They got over on the merit of, I'm coming to your town, I do crazy moves, bruv. And if the commentary, like in Japan, Ospreay would go out there, it's not like he'd say much. It's not like these riveting promos were getting cut. It was the commentary that would translate. It's all the translators for the people in Japan, and they like different shit. And then the commentary gets it over for the fans at home. And he was drawing globally, like around the world, but not at like a substantial level to where he's like eclipsing anybody at the peak of like WWE or anything like that. And Ospreay, I mean, yeah, he's a tremendous wrestler, but he, like so many other people, when they don't have the WWE filter, or they didn't fucking learn properly, or they fucking are on TV every week, like the Bucks, people just realize like some of these motherfuckers just don't know what they're doing. And Ospreay, I feel like he'll just do whatever. He'll lose to whoever. And some people go, well, that's a good thing. He causes no headaches. He gets paid and shit. Yeah, that's great. But you're not one of the you're not going to go down in history as like, or I just don't want to hear you talking about the grind, bruv, or taking shots at WWE. Like, you'll never even make it at that level. You couldn't even be Zack Ryder in that fucking company. And if you could, prove me wrong. Go and do it. But it just sucks. We'll never see like Kenny Omega get a shot at that, or some of these guys who really talk that fucking big game. And we see with Mox, he went to fucking WWE and people were like, man, Vince doesn't book him properly and shit. But now people look back at Dean Ambrose stuff and go, he was so good. And you look at Moxley shit and it's mostly like, this is garbage, dude. This fucking ass. And without that filter, you just see he's like, he just doesn't understand. He doesn't have a good grasp of like what's actually cool. His badass club is like the most unbadass cringe group. And the only cool guy is Cesaro, and it's because he doesn't say much. He doesn't really do much anything. He's just Cesaro, right? He just chills, and he's like the coolest guy in the group. And the rest of you are fun. Yeah, but Marina Shafir's really a good fighter. Okay, but it just, in wrestling, she is getting better, but you've just really, she's got, people say don't get any on you. She's gotten it all over her, dude, a bunch of times, being involved with the Death Riders, unfortunately. And yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, that's why Dave Meltzer will forever get roasted. I will forever roast fucking Dave Meltzer. And that was Dave Meltzer dumb. I didn't know how to end that one. I rant and raved. I went off. I said what I could say. That, ladies and gentlemen, flutes in the chat, was Dave Meltzer dumb moment of the week.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Patreon.com/Pro Wrestle Times for bonus episodes of DMDMW. I got another one coming right away, probably at you guys tomorrow or over the weekend. I appreciate you all for tuning in. Sean Anigans 158 for 5 says, as a cripple, I can confirm Darby is not crippled. Oh my God, wrestling's not fake, as they say. Jesus. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, he's not yet, but he might one day. But yeah, I don't know. I love when Bryce slowly melts down and starts to fight with Dave. I've been Phil S. Marks. Okay. Hit like, hit subscribe. Check me out on Kick. Pro Wrestle Times is on Kick now. All of the streams go there. And if anything, God forbid, happens to YouTube, then we're over there. But yeah, check out Patreon. I appreciate
the
you guys.
Young superstar, babyface, that former heel thing. So
I'll be live on Saturday on YouTube, and I'll see you guys next week with DMDMW.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. You're overdue. I just felt it's something that makes you look good, and that's cool, and I'm all for it, but I think you need to tone this down because now it's getting intrusive to the show. But they can go in the afternoon for a U.S.
Hold
show,
on a second.
As they did there, and they can do 180,000 buys for an afternoon show, which they've also done for All In. So
okay,
we know they can do. We know they can do big.
Can I continue this before you cut me off? We know one thing.
Yes.
We know it might have done well because it went on first.
I'm not saying it would.
Here's my thing, Dave.
But here's okay. Wait. Okay, here's the thing. Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. I mean, it didn't mean anything to me. It was just a match.
That's the problem, Dave. It should mean something to you.
Give him a quick squash win just to show that, he's not a loser.